There we go. I was like, I bet my mic is muted. I have been messing, obviously not with my hair, but around with my setup for today while we do this update here real quick. So everything's a little bit backwards to me right now. But welcome to my channel. I am Alternate Juror, and thank you so much for joining us. We are Hello Hamilton and Stormy and Gabrielle. Well, so they are still seating the jury in this trial. And as soon as I've read two things, as soon as the jury gets seated, they're going to go. And also I haven't heard anything, as soon as their jury gets seated, they're going to go for a jury view. So I've been trying to kind of watch things and see how it's going. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Carmen. Glad you could wake up finally. Alrighty. So what I know so far of today is they are still seating the jury, as I said. Mr. Montgomery yesterday decided he was going to enter the courtroom and stick out his tongue and came in shackles instead of a leg thing. I didn't really understand that. The judge talked to him about why he wanted to be in shackles. I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to be a thing. Today, he's not going to be in the courtroom at all. That's of 9:02 a.m. So the last update I have, which I'm just following this channel here, there was potential jurors that were saying that this trial just might be too much for them, especially when they were talking about where is it? Just hearing the testimony about, I think, the potential abuse that Harmony was a victim of. There was jurors that said that just might be too much. They have small children, and they dismissed, let's see. There was a male juror with a 9-month-old child, spoke with the judge. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to remain unbiased. So I'm not sure if he was the one that was dismissed, because it says a man and a woman have both been excused. And both sides now are back to a larger pool from yesterday to find 2 new qualified jurors to replace the ones that were dismissed. So this is a crap show already. Attorney, let's see. I'm just trying to read these updates from the reporter that's in the courtroom. 10:07 a.m. Attorney Smith, and I'm not sure who attorney that's for, tells potential jurors that Adam Montgomery is not in the court today, and then asks what they think about that. One panel juror then says, he doesn't have to speak, does he? Another juror questions, why might someone want to testify on such an important issue? And another said, maybe he can't speak well. The attorney said, asked if anybody thinks of a reason why someone might lie under oath. If someone has lied and now says, I'm telling the truth now, how do you know? One juror said it's situational. Um, the judge met with counsel at the bench. It says there's over 100 people crammed in that courtroom. Let me see if it's updated anymore. Yeah, he just seems I agree. Sorry, you guys are, like, to this this side of me, you're usually right in front of me, but I wanted to be able to read this stuff. Uh, yeah, I don't see how anybody especially if you do have kids, I can see the nine-month-old. If I was on the defense team, I would say, "Nope, I want that one gone." Um, but yes, even without kids. And yes, good morning, Stormy. Oh, Letitia. Ugh, I didn't even watch much of that trial, but man, that woman, she's got something wrong with her. Gabrielle. Are you saying we're not gonna be able to understand anybody here in this trial? We're gonna have to have closed captioning the whole time. This trial is long. So far, what I read yesterday, it is scheduled until February 29th. And that's if we're on schedule, which I don't think we are. I printed out the witness list for the state yesterday. There is 100 and what did we come up with? Need Carmen in here with me. 170 plus witnesses. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to call them all. These are just potential witnesses. Um, there are, let me see here. There's 79 civilian witnesses that could be called. Sorry, my paper is loud. 75 law enforcement witnesses, 6 expert witnesses, and then 33 like record keepers, it says. Um, like AT&T, Google, those types of people, which I think would be quick. So that's where that, and then I saw just on the little side of this news blurb that he maybe has 50 witnesses lined up for his defense, but I have not been able to find that on these court documents. So Court TV had this starting at 1, then they changed it to 11:30, but I have not seen, I keep losing my mouse, seen any updates. So I don't know. I have another stream like set so I can just just start it when it starts because I want it to be ready to go. You know what happens? It's hard. It's hard. But so I was reading through some of these things yesterday. Let me just update this one more time to make sure I'm not missing something else. All right, it still just says that jury selection continues. So the players in this are Kayla Montgomery, who is in prison for not this, um, who is his estranged wife now. Adam Montgomery, obviously, the, you know, wonderful dude. He has not represented himself. Um, I'm just hoping he can just represent himself in a adult fashion while in court. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't hold out any hope for that to happen. And then Crystal Sorey is Harmony's mother. And then, of course, little Harmony, who is presumed to be passed away at this point. So I am on the fence about how I feel about her mother. Her mother lost custody of Harmony because she was an addict, which, just after the McNabb Bell trial we just watched, we see all the bad things. When Harmony, so I have a timeline here, and sorry guys, I keep trying to get Rumble to play and it just says no. So, oh well. I don't know what's going on over there. So, oh well. Rumple's weird. I sometimes have a ton of people over there and sometimes I don't have any. All right. So let me share this one with you. All right. So Harmony's born in June of 2014. She's with her mother, and her father, Adam, is in prison. And then Harmony is removed from the mother's care 3 times because of neglect related to drug use, and visits her father in prison twice in January and July of 2015. I don't know why they have August 24th, 2014 to January 2018, because I don't know why they have that. September 2015, Adam gets released from prison. I'm not sure why he's there. I think I do have something pulled up that will tell me. September, a year after his release, Adam contacts Massachusetts Department of Child and Families for the first time to resume visits with Harmony. So she was born in 2014, and he wants to see her finally in 2016. In 2017, he's done okay. He's visited with Harmony once per month for 5 months, and then he just stops responding for future meetings. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I could see Carmen looking for a chair to sit in. So he did okay for 5 whole months, and then in 2018, he meets with Harmony for the first time in 11 months, and the 9th time in her life. That just blew me away. But not as much as what happens here. So the mom, Crystal Sorey, she loses custody of her daughter, drugs. And she later tells police she lost custody because of drug addiction issues, and Harmony was placed in a foster home where she should have stayed. Hang on for a second. I was hoping she was going to be awake before we had to do this. Hang on just 1 second. Hey, we got to scoot her over. We don't need a brighter light. There we go. You good?
Yep.
You're sideways to me. All right, there's Carmen.
Hello. That's what I was talking about.
Good morning, Adair. Yes, he is in prison on, as we call him here, pew pew charges. Because, words. Okay, so she goes to foster care in 2018. And what was that? July of 2018. And December of 2018, the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families requests a home study by the New Hampshire Division of Children, Youth, and Families at Montgomery's home in Manchester. The request did not include the necessary information to initiate a home study, New Hampshire officials say. So that's December 2018. February 2019, This winner is granted legal custody of the girl by a family court in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Why? DCYF officials are notified of the custody decision before it receives the additional information it requested for the home study. I bet that judge feels horrible. Not blaming them necessarily. It sounds like they didn't have all the information. So Easter 2019, I don't know when Easter 2019 was, if that was in April or May, or March or April. So this is when her mom says she last spoke to Harmony. 2019. She saw her on FaceTime. There's the mother. So let's say March, April, somewhere in there, she sees her. Then they get an anonymous call, and DCYF gets an anonymous call in July 2019 that says Harmony had a black eye when the caller visited her Guilford Street home in Manchester the week before. A child protective service worker visits the home and emails Manchester police to say no eye injury was observed. Just don't know who made that call. Then we get to August. CPS visits the home again and interviews Harmony and Adam and Kayla Montgomery. The worker notes a red mark in Harmony's eye and faded bruising under her eyelid. Adam Montgomery says the mark was caused when she was struck by a toy while playing with the sibling. The caseworker also speaks to Sori, the mother, who tells the agency she lost custody of Harmony to Adam Montgomery. October 2019, final visit from CPS. The worker reports the children appear happy and healthy. The assessment concludes that the report of abuse was unfounded, but the family was at high risk for future child welfare concerns. So they believe that she was unalived in November or December. And then Kayla, she starts her story and she starts laying out what happened. So Kayla, oopsies, I'm not sharing that anymore. We'll go big. There we are. So Kayla tells the police that they get evicted from their home the day before Thanksgiving in 2019. They're forced to live in their car. She says on December 7th, 2019, Adam grew frustrated with Harmony because she was not telling them when she needed to use the restroom and was having accidents in the car. And after each accident, Adam would strike Harmony in the head with a closed fist. I cannot imagine. It's like him and McNabb are in that same branch. Their branches don't branch off either. They're right there. So this happened on three separate occasions on December 7th while Adam was driving in the car and Harmony was in the rear seat on the passenger side. Kayla stated that after the final blow, Adam said words to the effect of that he felt something or heard something when he hit Harmony, and that, quote, "I think I really hurt her this time. I think I did something," end quote. Kayla goes on to say Harmony began to make a moaning type noise, which went on for roughly 5 minutes and then stopped. At no time did anyone stop or get Harmony medical attention as the result of this assault. She said later that day, the family's car broke down. It was then Kayla and Adam discovered Harmony was dead. Adam allegedly went to the trunk of the car, found a duffel bag, and placed Harmony in the bag. Kayla stated at no point did either of them have any conversation about getting any type of life-saving measures for Harmony, police wrote in the affidavit. There's the mother. Oh, you guys can't see that. Sorry. Just kidding. There's the mother again. So from December until early March, Adam and Kayla moved Harmony's body, she didn't have to, with them to various locations according to the affidavit. After living in a neighbor's car, the couple moved in with Kayla's mother briefly. Kayla told the police at that time Harmony's body was still in a duffel bag and was in a cooler in a common hallway of the apartment building. So I'm assuming it's just sitting out there, Just this cooler. It's just makes you wonder what you're walking by every day. At the end of December 2019, Adam, Kayla, and their other children moved into a Manchester shelter. Kayla told police that the bag containing Harmony's body was brought to the shelter and that Adam stored it in a ceiling vent. Police later found evidence of decomposition in the vent, according to the affidavit. Other residents of the shelter complained of foul odors coming from the ceiling, and maintenance workers were called to check it. Adam moved the bag containing Harmony's body to a closet while this happened, and the workers concluded that a dead animal must have been in the building or in the ceiling. Kayla told investigators she brought the bag containing Harmony's body to her husband's place of work, Portland Pie Company. I don't know if you know where that's at, Gabrielle. Hope you never ate there. She described pushing the bag containing Harmony's body in a stroller that also held two of her children. Gross. In the affidavit, police describe how Kayla told them about moving Harmony's body to another apartment and how Adam spent more than 4 hours in the bathroom with the bag containing Harmony's body before transferring it into a smaller bag. Kayla recalled smelling cleaning supplies in the bathroom, and the new bag that Adam had apparently put Harmony's body into was stored in a freezer. Adam later allegedly added lime to the bag to aid in decomposition. In March 2020, Adam allegedly rented a U-Haul van with the help of a friend in order to dispose of his daughter's body. Transportation records obtained by investigators show that the van was traveling north on the Tobin Bridge between Boston and Chelsea. At 4:44 a.m., a minute later, toll cameras recorded it traveling south on the bridge, according to the affidavit. The van was then seen traveling north on the bridge at 5:25 a.m. When he returned, he seemed very tired and said words to the effect of, "It's done," Kayla told investigators. So, let me see. I got to catch up on you guys. So, all right, everybody said hi.
Hello.
Yeah, they don't take her to get her checked. Who knows where she's at? And this is my daughter. This is my daughter, Carmen. She's here from Texas. She's going home tomorrow. Very short visit.
It's cold.
Yeah, she doesn't like air. It's cold. I'm like, it was like 45 yesterday.
It was like 85 in Texas.
Yeah, she's like, it's 80 where I live. Like, well, can't help it. All right, so in 2007, when Adam was 17, he faced charges for menacing a 15-year-old girl with a knife. He pleaded guilty. He's a black soul, the victim in that incident said. I kind of agree. In 2014, 6 months before Harmony was born, Haverhill police in Massachusetts were called to the scene of a shooting. A man who had been shot in the face told investigators that Adam had met up with him to buy heroin. But when the man produced the drugs, Adam allegedly pulled a gun out and tried to rob him. The man tried to grab the gun and it went off. Adam was tracked down and found with a bullet wound on his arm. He was charged with armed robbery, armed assault to murder, carrying a to unaliving, carrying a firearm without a license, and discharging a firearm within 500 feet of a building. He was ordered to serve an 18-month suspended sentence concurrently with an unrelated case. Adam was incarcerated when Harmony was born, when he first met her when she was 6 months old during a supervised visitation at prison. And that's really where you want to meet your kids for the first time, is in prison. Ugh. Where did I go? This thing I know. According to a 2022 report from the Massachusetts Office of the Child Advocate, the report found a series of failures by officials and the juvenile court to protect Harmony's safety. No kidding. Adam had a total of 2 visits with the girl while incarcerated. He first expressed interest in being involved in raising her in September 2016, more than a year after he was released from prison. We went through that. Says when he was granted custody of Harmony in 2019, he had spent a total of 40 hours with her. Wow. Let's see. We don't think He's as bad as your mother. Both bad. This, trial is in, New Hampshire. But Gabrielle, it must be close to Boston because or Massachusetts, right? Because they keep that's the news I keep finding. That's the source I keep finding. And yeah, it is very terrifying that you just never know who's out there walking right beside you. So, regardless of what happens in this trial, he will spend decades in prison. Last August, he was sentenced to serve between 15 and 30 years on each of two armed career criminal counts, with the prison terms to be completed consecutively. So, he's 34. If he gets 30 years on each and has to go consecutively, that's life. Um, and Kayla testified in that case. Let's see. Kayla is kind of, I don't know what to think about her. Um, you sent his picture. Oh no. I well, I hope you figured out you didn't know him. Yikes. So Adam said, "You probably won't believe me when I tell you that I didn't wake up one morning and choose to become an addict. I don't want to be an addict, and I will spend my time in prison utilizing it to the best of my ability to change things about myself. I could have had a meaningful life, and I blew that opportunity on drugs. But I loved my daughter unconditionally. And less, of course, she went to the bathroom in her car because she's 5 and lived in a car. And I did not unalive her," he said. So that's that. Yeah, he's gonna, if he's convicted on this one, that's a totally different charge. And they don't like people who do things to kids. So he may have a little rougher time in there. And yes, I'm glad to be clear, you do not know him. And also, yes, unfortunately, yep, that's sometimes what happens. So let's see if I have anything else. I don't think I have that. Let me check and see what's going on, if they have updated their timeline, because I don't know, excuse me, why. All right, give me a sec. We have a jury. Excuse me. Sorry. I agree. He's not a bad looking dude, but he's a monster. You're correct. Absolutely. Okay, so at 10:30, they have a jury. 10:44, the jury includes 14 women and 3 men who, as a whole, appear to be on the younger side. 4 women appear to be around my age. Amy Cavino's age. I don't know who that is. That's News 9. Amy Covino. Do you know who that is, Gabrielle? we're kind of counting on you. You're our East Coast gal there. Yeah. Yep. I'm kind of thinking our friend Shonda will get that. Paul will probably definitely get the worst of that, and old Chris McNabb. Maybe we should just start putting those people. I mean, I know they're together in prison, but just if we could just be like, hey, can we put this, like Shonda and Paul and Chris? Can we just put them all together? And this dude, just put them together so we know where they are. Yeah, he'll get taken care of. Absolutely. Oh, well, that's kind of, I mean, I'm not advocating for violence of anybody because I would never do that. YouTube. And sometimes, you think somebody's going to go in there and just absolutely get obliterated in a day or two, and then they don't. Uh, but look at Jeffrey Dahmer. That guy got it bad eventually. But on the other hand, I kind of think that Shonda just deserves to sit there. I'll be happy if she's just there stuck. Won't bother me a bit. All right, they don't have anything going on that channel, and they're going to stream it. I was going to stream it off this channel, but their closed captionings are weird. So, all right, let me do this. There. Now I can see you guys.
It's weird. I was like,
We. Okay. Oh, and there we go. That's good. All right, let me not over there because I can't see it. My glasses are, CVS glasses because my dog ate my glasses, so I can't. There's some things I can't see, but I go to the eye doctor next week so I can get some new ones. Yeah, I had 2 pairs. I had 3 pairs and sunglasses. She ate 2. I got my sunglasses before I heard her crunch, and then I saved them. But so they're just scratched. All right. So let me mute that. Okay. Absolutely. Are you talking about Mr. Dahmer? Yep. Most popular guys in prison are bank robbers. I believe it. Okay. I'm going to. Court TV has this up. So let me see. I wish they would say when they were going. So I don't know if they went to see the jury, if they went on their little jury field trip, or if they're getting ready to go.
So I'm trying to look on your phone.
Carmen's trying to look for me.
It's chair squeaky.
Well, while we wait, because I think I can just change the thumbnail for this one. We don't have to shut it down.
There you go. Go to the there.
But nothing's happening.
Just give it a
Oh, all right. Hang on. Give me 1 sec. We are in court. If you want to hear, you're going to have to. All right. Here we go. He is not in court today because he chose to not be in court today. So he kind of made a little entrance yesterday, and then he chose to not be there today. So Oh, come on. Get us all excited. At least there's people in the courtroom. That's a good sign. Ow.
Please be seated.
All right. Let me know how the sound is.
You can be seated. Thank you.
Definitely acts like a child. That's for sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I might say unfortunately, it's his right to do it. So if he wants to waive being there, he can. But he won't be able to do it at the end, just like she wasn't able to. It's loud. Okay. Well, great. That's different. All right. I turn it down, but let me know if it's too turned down. Because I have it boosted, because I always have to boost it 600% and turn it all the way up for you guys. But yeah, it about blew my eardrums out. Yep, we got a lady judge. I hope she just doesn't take any crap. All right, let me know here when they start speaking again. And I will adjust. I think it might, I didn't see. I think it might just be a scarf.
He's what?
He's taking a comfort break.
A comfort break. I don't know why they're zooming in over there. That's not him. He's not here.
That guy's sweatshirt just says shush.
Hmm?
Did that guy's sweatshirt say shush? Like,
I don't- I can't remember if I said it. So I think I said they said there was over 100 people packed into that courtroom this morning. So there's a lot of people. You guys. I okay. Gabrielle, I'm not on TikTok. You have to explain that one. And
uh, sheesh.
oh, that's what he's see, that's why I need the young in here. She knows. And for those of you that don't live in cold climates, sometimes you need a turtleneck. It's cold. I haven't worn one in a while, but it's been a day or two. Come on, Court. All right, I've caught it up, so. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. I've been trying to figure out Rumble, and then I just figured it out. I'm an idiot. That's why. Well, day one isn't going to Rumble. Sorry. Oh yeah, it was. We get up to like 34 the other day, and it's jacket weather. And then Carmen's going, "It's 50. I'm cold." Like, shut up. It's 50. It's gonna be 50 here.
And I forgot my sweatshirt. Or a coat.
Yeah, and she showed up yesterday without a coat.
I forgot.
Quickly stole mine. Oh, Florida. I know that's cold for you. Yeah, I didn't. I kind of caught part of that, Adair, but I didn't get to see all of it. Uh, I think I just caught when he was done. Yeah, 50 is like spring. I have a countdown to spring on my phone. My husband thought I was nuts when I mean, for lots of reasons, but when I told him, I think it was like 2 days after the first day of winter, I said, "Spring's less than 3 months away." And he turned around and looked at me like I had just spoken in a foreign language for the first time. He was like, "What did you just say?" And I said, "Spring is less than 3 months away." And he just was staring at me, and I said, "Because winter's already started, so spring is less than 3 months away, and that's what I have to focus on." Yeah, I knew that was about that stuff. Sorry, I got yeah, you guys, holy cow, are getting a ton of rain. So, I hope you're good. Hamilton, my mom and dad used to live in Southern California, and we went out there for Christmas, and when we left here, it was cold. I mean, we used to have really cold winters. They're not that bad anymore. We got to California, it's 60 some degrees. It feels great to us. And we walked out of the airport outside, and there was a woman in a full parka hat, big, huge mittens on, and we're just walking out like, "This is great." And, "What is wrong with you, woman? I will send you to the cold. This is not cold." We never even talked to that woman, never see her again. Wouldn't know if we did, but we've never
Attorney
forgotten her.
Smith, Attorney Brooks, ready? All right, we'll bring the jurors in now. Bring them in. Please rise for the jury.
All right, here we go. We can have the same thing here in Indiana. We've had snow, thunder, tornadoes. It doesn't matter. So my parents were in Orange County. Rancho Santa Margarita is where they lived for a while before they moved back here. But my dad still talks about how he loved the weather. Just too many.
The jury?
All right, I'll ask the jurors to please remain standing. Everyone else, you may be seated.
Members of the jury, I'm going to swear you in now. So if you could please raise your right hands, and at the conclusion of the oath, if you would please say, "I will." You so solemnly swear or affirm that you will carefully consider the evidence and the law presented to you in this case, and that you will deliver a fair and true verdict as to the charges or charges against the defendant, so help you God. Thank you. Members of the jury, you can be seated.
Yeah.
I'm going to now read the charges to you in
I
this
heard
matter.
he was a
There's
nightmare.
5 charges. The first is charge ID 1937947C. This states that Adam Montgomery of Manchester, New Hampshire, of Manchester in the state of New Hampshire, between approximately July 1st and July 22nd, 2019, at Manchester in the county of Hillsborough aforesaid, did commit the crime of second-degree assault, in that Adam Montgomery did knowingly cause bodily injury to HM, date of birth 6/7/2014, a child under the age of 13 by striking her in the face. Said acts being contrary to the form of the statute in such case made and provided and against the peace and dignity of the state. The next charge in this matter is charge ID 2027112C, and this states that Adam Montgomery of Manchester in the state of New Hampshire on or about December 7th, 2019, at Manchester in the county of Hillsborough aforesaid, did commit the crime of second-degree murder, in that Adam Montgomery did recklessly cause the death of Harmony Montgomery, date of birth 6/7/2014, a person under 13 years of age, under circumstances manifesting an extreme indifference to the value of human life by repeatedly striking Harmony Montgomery on the head with a closed fist. Said acts being contrary to the form of the statute in such case made and provided and against the peace and dignity of the state. The next charge is charge ID 2027113C, and this states that Adam Montgomery of Manchester in the state of New Hampshire between approximately December 7th, 2019 and March 4th, 2020, at Manchester in the county of Hillsborough aforesaid, did commit the crime of falsifying physical evidence, in that Adam Montgomery, believing that an official proceeding, as defined in RSA 641:1, Roman numeral 2, or an investigation was pending or about to be instituted, did purposely alter, destroy, conceal, or remove the body of Harmony Montgomery with a purpose to impair its verity or availability in such proceeding or investigation. Said acts being contrary to the form of the statute in such case made and provided and against the peace and dignity of the state. The next charge in this matter is charge ID 2027114C, and this states that Adam Montgomery of Manchester, New Hampshire, at Manchester between December 7th, 2019 and March 4th, 2020, did commit the offense of abuse of a corpse, in that the defendant did purposely and unlawfully removed, concealed, or destroyed the corpse of Harmony Montgomery or any part thereof. And this is against the peace and dignity of the state. And then the last charge is charge ID 2027115C, and this states that Adam Montgomery of Manchester in the state of New Hampshire between approximately December 7th, 2019 and January 4th, 2022, at Manchester in the county of Hillsborough aforesaid, did commit the crime of tampering with witnesses and informants, in that Adam Montgomery, believing that an official proceeding as defined in RSA 641:1, Roman numeral 2, or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, did purposely attempt to induce or otherwise cause Kayla Montgomery to testify or inform falsely. Said acts being contrary to the form of the statute in such case made and provided and against the peace and dignity of the state. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant, Adam Montgomery, has been arraigned on these charges and he has pleaded not guilty. And of this, he puts himself upon his country for trial, which country you are. Assistant Attorneys General Benjamin Agati and Christopher Knowles for the state have joined the issue, and you are to say by your verdict if the defendant, Adam Montgomery, is guilty of the crimes whereof he stands indicted or not guilty. Hearken to the evidence. Thank you.
Members of the jury, shortly you will hear opening statements by counsel. Before that, I'm going to give you some general instructions as to the law that applies to this case and some other matters which will give you some guidance as you consider the evidence in this case. After you have heard the evidence and you have heard closing arguments, you will hear further instructions from the court. and then you will retire to the jury deliberation room to decide your verdict. You should consider all of the instructions I give you, both now and at the end of the case as a whole, and not single out one particular instruction as stating the law. You will also have written copies of my instructions with you in the jury deliberation room. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a memory test. What I ask of you now is just listen carefully to the instructions that I give to you. You will have as many copies as you like in the deliberation room when it comes to decide your verdict. So you will have written copies of both the instructions that I give you now, as well as the ones that I give you at the end of the case as a whole. And every juror can have one available to them. So please just listen carefully now as I give you these instructions. The function of the court and the jury. In order to reach a fair and just verdict, you must understand and follow the law as I explain it to you. For example, you have to understand the definitions of the crimes with which the defendant is charged. You have to understand how convinced one way or the other you should be before deciding your verdict. You have to understand what to consider in deciding whether to believe a particular witness. These instructions will explain the law as to these and other matters so that you can reach a fair and just verdict. It is your duty as jurors to follow all of the instructions I'm about to give you. Regardless of any opinion you may have as to what the law ought to be, the law as I explain it to you is the law you must follow in reaching your verdict. It is up to you to decide the facts. You must decide the facts solely from the evidence in this trial. You must apply the law given to you in these instructions to the facts, and in this way reach a fair and just verdict. You should decide the facts without prejudice, without fear, and without sympathy. You should decide this case based solely on the evidence presented and the law as I explain it to you. In deciding this case, you should consider only the evidence in the case. The evidence consists of testimony under oath of the witnesses, exhibits which have been admitted into evidence, facts of which I take judicial notice, and stipulations of certain facts. During the trial, the lawyers may make objections. The lawyers are supposed to object when they believe that certain evidence is not admissible. If I sustain an objection or exclude any evidence, you must not guess as to what the answer or evidence would have been. If I order that a question and answer be stricken from the record, you must not consider either the question or the answer as evidence. A judge is required to be neutral, and I am in fact neutral. If during this trial or at any point during these proceedings you believe that I have expressed or suggested an opinion as to the facts in my rulings, you should ignore that belief. It is up to you alone to decide the facts. In short, you should consider only the legally admissible evidence in deciding this case, that is, the testimony of the witnesses, the exhibits, stipulations, and facts of which I took judicial notice. We talked earlier that there will be a view in this case, and I'll give you an instruction on the view later, but the view is also evidence in the case, but you'll hear an instruction on that in a little bit. The indictments are not evidence. The fact that the defendant has been arrested and indicted is not evidence of guilt. The indictments are simply a way of giving the defendant notice of the charges. The indictments are a formal way of accusing the defendant of a crime in order to bring the defendant to trial. You must not consider the indictments as evidence of guilt. Multiple indictments, one defendant. Each of the indictments against the defendant constitutes a separate offense. You must consider each indictment separately and determine whether the state has proven the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The fact that you may find the defendant guilty or not guilty on one of the indictments should not influence your verdict with respect to the other indictments. The possible punishment the defendant may receive if you return a guilty verdict should not influence your decision. The duty of imposing sentence is solely for the judge. You should base your verdict only on the evidence and the law without considering the possible punishment. The presumption of innocence. As you were instructed during the general selection process, there is a presumption of innocence that applies and continues throughout this trial until the state convinces you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of each and every element of the offenses with which he has been charged, and the defendant has no obligation whatsoever to prove his innocence in this matter, and that includes the right not to testify if he so chooses. You are not allowed to draw any unfavorable, adverse, or negative inference if the defendant does not take the stand in this matter. The jury's recollection controls. You will hear the lawyers discuss the facts and the law in their opening statements and closing arguments to you. These statements and arguments are not evidence. Their purpose is to help you understand the evidence and the law. If the lawyers have stated the law differently from the law as I explain it to you in these instructions, then you must follow these instructions and ignore the statements of the lawyers. If the lawyers state the evidence differently from how you recall it, then you should follow your own memory of what the evidence was. Direct and circumstantial evidence. There are two kinds of evidence, direct and circumstantial. Direct evidence is direct proof of a fact, such as the testimony or statement of a person about what the person saw, heard, or did. Circumstantial evidence is indirect evidence, that is, proof of a chain of facts from which you could find that another fact exists, although it has not been proved directly. For example, if you look outside and see water droplets falling from the sky, that is direct evidence that it's raining. But if you look out the window at night and the ground is dry, and again the next morning and the ground is wet, that is indirect or circumstantial evidence that it rained during the night. By circumstantial evidence, I simply mean that you may infer the ultimate fact from another fact shown. You should feel free to reach reasonable conclusions from proven facts. Conversely, you may not reach conclusions based on facts that have not been proved. In the rain example, wet ground alone may support an inference that it rained during the night. But in the absence of additional evidence, it will not necessarily support inferences about how much rain fell or for how long a period of time. You should consider both kinds of evidence. You are permitted to give equal weight to both, but it is for you to decide how much weight to give any evidence, whether it be direct or circumstantial. However, to be sufficient to establish guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, circumstantial evidence must exclude all other rational conclusions. This means that if from the circumstantial evidence it is rational to arrive at two conclusions, one consistent with guilt and one consistent with innocence, then you must choose the rational conclusion consistent with innocence. In determining whether all rational conclusions other than guilt have been excluded, you should not consider any item of circumstantial evidence in isolation. Rather, you should consider each item of circumstantial evidence in the context of all of the other evidence, which includes all other circumstantial evidence and direct evidence. You must understand, however, that this circumstantial evidence rule does not apply to direct evidence. If there is a conflict between two or more witnesses who offer direct evidence concerning certain facts, you should resolve the conflict. For example, suppose there are two eyewitnesses to a crime, and one testifies that the defendant committed the crime, and the other testifies that the defendant did not commit the crime. This presents a situation where there is a conflict in direct evidence. In this situation, you, the jury, should resolve the conflict and must decide whether, based upon all of the evidence, the state has proved the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You should consider all of the direct and circumstantial evidence in the case, as well as any reasonable inferences you draw therefrom, in deciding whether the state has proved all of the elements of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The credibility of witnesses. In deciding this case, you must decide the credibility of witnesses. That is, it is up to you to decide who to believe. If there is any conflict between the witnesses, then you must resolve the conflict. Simply because a witness has taken an oath to tell the truth does not mean that you have to accept the testimony as true. Use your common sense and judgment. Consider factors you use in deciding important issues in your everyday lives. For example, you may consider the following: the witness's attitude, behavior, and appearance on the stand, and the way the witness testifies. The witness's age, intelligence, and experience. The witness's opportunity and ability to see or hear the things about which the witness testifies. The accuracy of the witness's memory. Any motive of the witness not to tell the truth. Any interest that a witness has in the outcome of the case. Any bias of the witness, or friendship or animosity the witness may have for or against any of the other people in the case. The consistency or inconsistency of the witness's testimony. Whether or not what the witness says appears reasonable or unreasonable. Whether what the witness says is consistent or inconsistent with the testimony of other witnesses or with statements the witness made at another time. In deciding which witness to believe and how much of their testimony to believe, you should consider both the direct and cross-examination of the witnesses. If you believe that part of a witness's testimony is false, you may choose to distrust other parts also, but you are not required to do so. Inconsistencies and contradictions within a witness's testimony or between witnesses do not necessarily mean that you should disbelieve the witness. It is possible for honest people to witness the same event and see or hear things differently. You should evaluate inconsistencies and contradictions and determine whether they are important or unimportant. You need not believe any witness even though the testimony is uncontradicted. Nor are you required to accept testimony as true because some or even all of the witnesses agree with each other. You may find the testimony of one witness or of a few witnesses more persuasive than the testimony of a larger number. These principles apply to all witnesses, whether they are ordinary citizens, police officers, experts, or otherwise. In short, you should consider the testimony of each witness and give it the weight you think it deserves. The weight to be given to the evidence should be determined by the quality of the evidence, not the quantity. It is not the number of witnesses or the quantity of the evidence, but the quality of the evidence that is important. The judge decides what is admissible. Testimony, writing, objects, and other things presented during the trial are evidence only if the judge accepts them as evidence. Throughout the trial, I may rule on whether certain evidence was admissible or not admissible. These are legal decisions which do not concern you because only the judge is permitted to decide legal questions. I may make 3 types of legal decisions with regard to the evidence. First, I may stop some information from being presented at all. You are not to imagine what that information might have been had I allowed it to be presented. Second, I may rule that some information was not admissible after it was presented to you. You are to ignore this information and not use it as evidence. Finally, I may allow some information to be entered as evidence after hearing objections by one of the lawyers. You are not to give such evidence any special importance as a result of my ruling. It is not my duty, and I do not try to determine whether the evidence is important when I make my rulings. The burden of proof and reasonable doubt. Now, I've addressed what you should not consider and what you should consider in reaching a verdict. I'm now going to discuss with you how convinced one way or the other you must be, and this is referred to as the burden of proof. Under our constitutions, all defendants in criminal cases are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proving guilt is entirely on the state. The defendant does not have to prove his innocence. As I told you earlier, the defendant enters the courtroom as an innocent person, and you must consider him to be an innocent person until the state convinces you beyond a reasonable doubt that he is guilty of every element of the alleged offense. If after all of the evidence and arguments you have a reasonable doubt as to the defendant having committed any one or more elements of the offense, then you must find him not guilty. Now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, a reasonable doubt is what the words would ordinarily imply. The use of the word reasonable means simply that the doubt must be reasonable rather than unreasonable. It must be a doubt based upon reason. It is not a frivolous or fanciful doubt, nor is it one that can easily be explained away. Rather, it is such a doubt based on reason as remains after consideration of all of the evidence that the state has offered against it. The test you must use is this: if you have a reasonable doubt as to whether the state has proven any one or more elements of the crime charged, you must find the defendant not guilty. However, if you find the state has proven all of the elements of the charged offense beyond a reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant guilty. With respect to the final instructions regarding the offenses, I will wait until the end of the trial and after closing arguments and discuss it with you at that time. So as I said, I will give you another set of instructions after closing arguments at the end of this case. You will have all of these instructions with you in the deliberation room when it comes time to decide your verdict. As I said to you earlier, there's a form of this instruction that I'm about to give you. We call it the communication instruction that I'll give you. I've given you some of it before, and I'll continue to give it throughout the trial. Please listen very carefully. Do not discuss the case at all, not with the other members of the jury or with anyone else, until jury deliberations start at the end of the trial after all of the evidence and final arguments have been presented. Please keep an open mind until you have heard all of the evidence in the case. During the course of trial, please take care to avoid any contact with any persons involved in the case, the lawyers, the witnesses, and the parties. So I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, as you come in and out of the courthouse, you may see the lawyers or other people involved in the case. They have been instructed that they are not to communicate with you, so they are not being rude if they don't acknowledge your presence or smile at you or say hello as you may pass them in the hallways. But you must, they are required to avoid any contact with you, and you are required to avoid any contact with them. So no contact with anyone involved in the case, please. Also, please be sure to avoid any television, radio, online, or newspaper coverage of this case. I anticipate that there will be media coverage of this case. As I indicated earlier, you know that there are cameras in the courtroom. They have been instructed that they are not to take pictures of the jurors in the case, but I expect that there will be media coverage. You are instructed that you must not read any articles or view any media coverage on television, online, or elsewhere. So avoid your local papers, have somebody pull the international section if you want, but don't watch any media coverage of the case, okay? You are instructed to turn off any notification or banners that come through your smartphone, computers, smartwatches, or other devices, okay? Finally, do not conduct any research or investigation of your own. You must render your verdict based solely on the evidence submitted at trial. So don't look up the law. That will be given to you in the court's instructions. Don't drive by any locations. Don't look up any names. Don't look anybody up on social media. It is critically important that your verdict in this case is based exclusively on the evidence that's presented at trial. Our trial day will generally go from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will also generally take a mid-morning and mid-afternoon break. I try to look at sort of natural break points in the case to determine when those breaks happen. But generally we'll have a mid-afternoon, mid-morning break, and we'll also have a lunch break.
It's all about trust, Gabrielle.
The
They
court has
just
asked you to
trust
put your cell phones in a box in the jury deliberation room. Please make sure they are silenced or turned off altogether. As I said to you, you will be permitted to check your phones
And
when you are on
unfortunately,
break.
that's not
However, you are not to
untrue,
look at any news
Hamilton.
reporting or media coverage of this case, as I have already told you. Additionally, you are not permitted to take notes of any kind, not on paper or
Oh.
on your phones. The reason for this is that it is important that your recollection of the evidence is what controls. Sometimes if notes are taken, they can be given undue weight. And it's important that when it comes time to deliberate, you are using your individual and collective memories about the evidence, and one note or one written recollection doesn't control. You should also be aware that there will be no transcript available to you when it comes time to deliberate. So although we have our excellent court monitors here and there's an audio recording, that is not available to the jurors, and there will be no transcript. So your individual and collective recollection is what will control as you go into the deliberations.
Good morning, Ronnie. Thank you
Therefore,
for joining
please
us.
listen carefully to the evidence as it is presented. If during the course of this trial you have any questions or problems, you become thirsty or need anything else, just get the court officer's attention, either of our court officers or my attention, so that we can assist you. If at any time during the trial you cannot hear, please raise your hand so that I can ask the witness or the lawyers to speak up. That goes as well for any monitors. If you cannot see, please do let us know. It is important that you are viewing and listening to all of the evidence as it's presented. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 20 of. I had indicated to you earlier that I thought we would go right into opening statements, but based on what I anticipate the length of the opening statements will be, I think that would hold your lunch off for quite a long time. So, after speaking with the lawyers, I think what we're going to do is we'll take an early lunch break. So we're going to break now. Please come back at in 1 hour, so 20 to 1. And then we'll move directly into opening statements. So don't talk about the case, not with each other, not with anybody else. Don't look up any media. Don't do any independent research. And I will see you in an hour after lunch. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. All rise for the jurors.
We just get started and then we end. Yay! I'm losing my cursor. It's over here. Well, Carmen's off there. Hamilton, that's so funny because it's so true. She can't stop laughing. It's all they just take their word for it that they don't. And I think, so if you listen to a lot of attorneys talk about this, they think that they think jurors really do take their jury duty seriously, and that they do abide by the rules. I think sometimes if a juror doesn't, I think they can't keep their mouth shut, and then they get told on. So yeah, see, now you guys are seeing the benefit of me not being able to stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because we get to skip all this. But today, not today, we get to sit through it all. I cannot believe that she's not letting them take notes. This trial is scheduled to go until the end of the month, February 29th. And she's not going to let them take notes all that time? I don't like that. They should be able to take notes. I mean, it's just, yeah, to me, it's like you take notes. It's not that you're just writing down what somebody said, but you're saying, okay, maybe, I mean, this is me. If I was doing it, I would be like, this person maybe wasn't believable to me. They weren't credible. That might be my notes, or I might just say, well, they said this and this person didn't, it contradicted them or confirmed it or whatever. But there's going to be so much information in this trial that they should be able to take notes. So, Stormy, to sequester just sending them to a motel or a hotel like O.J. Simpson, I don't think that happened. There is a motion to sequester the witnesses in this trial, which means they cannot come in. They can't be in the courtroom to listen to anybody else's testimony until after they have testified. And I do believe that's in place. Yeah, I don't like it, Ronnie. It's just too much. Too much information coming at you. I'm the same way. I need notes. I have notes everywhere. I have notes on my phone. It's how I just it's like if I lose my phone, I lose my life because everything is on there. Reminders, notes, everything. So yeah, they'll get those notes, they'll get the instructions. But yeah, the notes is well, and I do think, you know, Adair, some people they listen better when they're doodling. It doesn't just because they're drawing a picture doesn't mean they're not listening, but it actually helps them to listen a little bit better. And so I think this is crazy to me that she's doing that. Um, so I don't know.
Especially if they.
You're gonna have to talk into.
No, I was gonna say, especially if they really do all these witnesses, 187.
Yeah. So if you missed the very beginning of the story or the beginning, I didn't expect them to go right into this. So I just kind of had a quick stream set up and then they were like, nope, we're going to go right into we're going to go right into a lunch break. So, but yeah, the state's witness list is 87 witnesses, that could potentially be called. And, his list is 50 potential witnesses. So I don't know, but yeah, I think they had a little problem getting this jury seated, Hamilton. So you, you might have been able to be like, I either get to take notes or I'm just going to vote guilty. That's it. The state would be like, perfect. She does not get to take notes. And the defense would be like, I'm so sorry, Hamilton. I assumed you were. Carmen and I have been discussing because your name does not give you away. So if I misgendered you, I am so sorry. We just have been kind of playing, detective, but and just trying to figure it out. Okay, yay! 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 Oh. Your mom brought you? Oh, to get out of it. Oh, that's good. Yeah, 187, Ronnie, on the states list. I have it. I have the states list here. It's 6 pages long. I cannot find the list for the defense because they just keep amending it and it just adds to here to that. And I just saw on the news channel that it was 50. I watched that trial though, and my sister watched that trial. She lives up in Minnesota for some crazy reason, but we called each other at the end, and I'm just going, you can't find her guilty on the evidence. And Jose Baez, like him, hate him, he did a good job, and he put stuff out there that I was just like, I wouldn't be able to find her guilty if I was sitting on that jury because of what he did. Yeah. That's me. I can't even try to even communicate with you guys for 5 minutes without getting distracted and going all over the place. I'm like that. I'm like a see? uh Gosh. Belle. What's her first name? We just did her. What was the lady's first name on the Bell trial? We just did it. But I'm like her defense attorney all over the place. I don't know about that one, but he's just good. He's a good defense attorney. Courtney. Yes. I was I was going all over the place, see, because I cannot. Yeah, that Michelle Carter. That one. She's the text message one, right? Telling her boyfriend to self-delete. Is that what he was on? Wait. So Ronnie's husband. I'm confused. See, I can't. Wow. Ronnie was he just able to be called for 6 months? Yeah, that would be crazy. That trial, that whole situation, to me, she was guilty of unaliving him even though she wasn't there. Oh, that's funny. Now, I will say this. I've never been on jury duty. We moved from one county to a neighboring one, and as soon as we did, I got a summons in the county we left for jury duty, and I called them and I said, I don't live there anymore, and they're like, never mind. And so I didn't have to get out of anything, but I have had the questionnaire because we have a federal court here not too far from where I live, and I have had like 3 or 4 questionnaires from them to fill out, and my husband's like, you are the perfect person to do this. And I said, I would think, and they've never picked me ever. Not one time. But I will say this about getting out of jury duty. We need good jurors. We need people that are open-minded and are going to actually do what we need them to do, and not just go in and be like, well, you're arrested, you're guilty. Make the state do its job. So I don't know if they would pick me now if they said, what do you do? I stream trials. Did this person unalive anybody? They'd be like, get out. Okay, well, all right. They'd be like, unalive what? So yeah, I wouldn't be picked. Plus, our town is my town is like 2,200 people. Not a lot happens here. You know, I guess Carmen used to work at the jail, so she used to take them to court, but I never heard of really any trials. They just go in and plead.
Sometimes.
Other
Other times, if we had a trial coming up, I was like, I have literally anything else to do. I don't want to stand there. But there was times that I would get stuff to have to, like, for jury duty, but I would just be like, I can't because I work here. And that would get me out of it.
I dare. I'm prejudiced about lawsuits. Yeah, I mean, I don't, if your kids are home, then that's a good excuse. But I think we need good jurors. We need, like I said, we just need people that are going to go in there and do their job and do it correctly, because we just don't have a lot of that anymore. I mean, this is and then you have that. You're all picked, and then they're like, yep, they took the deal. So get out. We don't need you. My dad's friend, he sat through a whole trial here, and at the very end, somebody asked a question, and I think it was a car accident, so there was some money going to be involved, and they had been told, don't ask this question, don't ask this question, don't ask this question, and the The lawyers did not, but when the person was the victim or whoever the plaintiff was on the stand, she did. So they sat through the whole trial and she asked whatever question it was that had to do with the money, and it was a mistrial. So they just sat there for nothing. Oh, absolutely. That's why, they take it very seriously. And this jury, from what it sounds like, they started seating them yesterday and didn't finish up till this morning. And some of them were saying, we can't do this. This is going to be too much. That man that said, I have a 9-month-old at home. I can't do this. I don't know if he was dismissed or not. There was a man and a woman dismissed after that, but I don't know if he was one of them. They're just, when she was reading the charges off, were you not thinking about McNabb and Bell because punched in the head repeatedly? Well, we just watched that one. At least this jury is not going to be able to, there's no pictures. There's no medical examiner to testify about how bad things were and show you what the end result was. I don't even know, they have this van leaving this and area, that area going, whatever. And I know they searched, but I don't know what remains of her to even find, which is sad. Yeah, Stormy, there's no way. No way. Yeah, he like I said, they must be from the same branch. That straight tree down there. It's just one. It's the trunk. That's it. Only by the state of Dare. Those fence wouldn't want her on there. In my opinion, they'd tell nope. They would think she would be biased because of losing her child, and I don't disagree. I can't imagine. I just Kayla's recount of what happened is pretty detailed in my opinion, but she also got caught in a lie because she said she was working and that he dropped her off at work and then took Harmony and the kids, and then that's when it happened. They found she was not at work. So if she was sitting in that car, if what they say happened and she was sitting in that car and didn't do anything every time he did it, she deserves whatever fate she gets out of this, because I think she may be up for trial as well. She may be charged with some stuff out of this as well and not just lying. Because I can tell you, if my significant other was punching their kid in the head, a little kid especially, be out. The kid would be out. If I have to walk and live on the street corner, I'm already living in the car. Surely her parents, her mom would have let her come back. She did. But if she sat there and watched that more than one time, because she said it happened more than once, just that day was 3 times. Yeah. Yep, Stormy, my husband and I were talking about this the other day about if the unalive sentence, for lack of a better word, if the person was put through the same thing they put their victim through, it might be more effective. But then who are you going to find to do it? You'd have to just find a sick individual who's going to do that. Because I don't think a person who, even if you're angry, but that's not in you, that you could do that and live with yourself. I think you just would already have to have a sick mind to be able to do it. But I'm with you. My husband and I talked about it a lot. I think that penalty is probably going to eventually just not be around anymore. There's so many states that don't have it. Yeah, child cases, they're hard. Imagine what those jurors saw. We only heard the audio from what Timothy went through in his final moments. The jurors saw the video. And I hope that they were able to go talk to somebody and get some counseling afterwards, because I can't imagine. When he was sentencing Shonda, and the judge put that picture frame up on his bench, my heart stopped for a second, because I thought, please don't turn around and now show us a picture of what she did. And I don't know why I thought he was going to, because I should have known he wasn't going to, but man, scared me. And then that little picture turned around. So, yeah, I agree, Lisa. I agree. Florida is weird though, and I don't know that I agree with their whole doesn't have to be unanimous anymore. Was that passed before or after Cruz was up? I thought he was going to get it for sure. Yeah, in Rosancy, I just don't, my state has it, but I can't tell you the last time they used it. It's been a long time. It's not, it doesn't happen. Oh, that's why it was changed. Okay. And the conversation that started, or the thing that happened that started the conversation with my husband and I, was the guy here in the last couple weeks that they used that bad method on, and that didn't, they said he would be, what was that? It's not even a method that you can even use to euthanize an animal anymore, because it's so bad. And this guy did not pass away quickly. And the people that were there witnessing it, I can't remember what it was, said he was, writhing around in pain, and it was horrible, and this, that, and the other. And I thought, but what did he do to his victim? Was he scared in his last moments? Did he feel like maybe his victim can't get away? So, yeah, 2 holdouts. So we're all kind of on that same page.
They gassed nitrogen.
Yeah, it was supposed to be painless and humane. It was not. Nitrogen gas. And I didn't feel sorry for him. Yeah, somebody had made a comment in my comments about their kids don't ever have to ask for food. I don't have an issue with, if I was younger and I came home and my mom had made something kind of out of the ordinary. So she made a cake or cheesecake or something that, I would ask, hey, is that for us? Or something before I ate it. But anything else I could pretty much have whenever I wanted. Now, I did go to other people's houses that obviously the fridge wasn't locked. They weren't starving, but they did. They had to ask. And that was different for me, but I understood it. But yeah, but it wasn't like that. And Roseanne, I was one of those people. Only one time did he come across that way to me, and I didn't want him to, because he had her. But then when I thought about it, I I think he was annoyed with her at that point in time. Her memory loss that she was having. Um, but the rest of the time, I thought he did great. I didn't see that out of him at all anymore. And he absolutely great prosecutor. I loved the judge. I'd like to see them try another case together. Him and the defense attorney are friends. And everybody didn't like the defense attorney, said that he didn't have anything to work with. He had nothing to work with. He just did his job. So I didn't hold that against him. Did I like him? No. Did I like that he went after, that she let him go after Paul the way that she did? No. Yes, they are at lunch because they needed a break after, yes. And then we'll do openings, and they're ending at 4, so that's great. I don't know that I care if it's painless or not as for people. But that's the thing. There's so many times people get exonerated off of unaliving row that you don't want them to go through that because they were innocent. So, it's like you just have to make sure. Yeah. I mean, what kid doesn't go down and sneak snacks at night? I
would
don't
never.
never have a child that did anything like that or leave food in her room when we told her repeatedly not to, because we also didn't want bugs. I didn't watch any of that
Don't even get me started.
Crumbly case, and everybody's very divided on it. I heard the judge did not have control of her courtroom, and it was very weird, but I didn't watch any of it. Yeah, she didn't get diagnosed with that. That's her own diagnosis. I'm so glad she's gone. Oh, yeah, no, I know you weren't. I just am on, like, if somebody's going to be, if we're going to take their life, I really, 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 really want to make sure that they really deserve it. And they really did it. We've had too many people walk out of there that were innocent. Who did? The judge? I gotta see where they're at here. All right, they're still in break. And I dare some people are fine with that, and they'll be fine with that until it's them. And that's the thing I try to tell everybody. If you're fine with it, you have to be fine with it when it's you. And everybody says, I never thought this could happen to me. Nobody thinks things are going to happen to them. So I know, it's so weird. They've got to have something then, right? Because for them to take it up, would that not be nuts if they found beyond a reasonable doubt proof that it wasn't him? Because there was another car in the neighborhood that day. We were actually, Lisa, that was I think the second time we went to California at like everybody, because I would go to California throughout the year to see my mom and dad, but then we took my brother, my sister, and everybody, all our families met out there. And that was one of the times she went missing. I remember my brother and I were sitting on the couch, and we were watching I think we were watching the news or something, and he looked at me and he just said, he didn't say, he used the D word, she's unalived. And I was like, probably. So you just weird moments that you don't forget. Mostly we just don't see that stuff around where I live. Like I said, small town. The town next to me is Indiana University, and it's becoming ridiculous. I don't even like to go there because it's very full of pew pews going off a lot lately. It's turning into a little Indianapolis. Yep. And it's good if they don't deserve to be there, I don't want them there. You missed us talking about people locking their fridges, Gabrielle. But no. Yeah. Not in my town. Although I I've told you guys I live in a rural area, and every once in a while there is a person, I have no idea who it is. They just fire off. They'll just go outside and fire off some rounds. I'm like, why? I called Carmen. I was home. My husband was traveling, and I was home alone. I had my windows opening. I was reading, and I just all night shots after shots after shots. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I called Carmen. I said, "Are you up?" She immediately thought something's wrong, and I just like, "Are any of your friends patrolling tonight?" Because
Oh yeah, we'll send them over.
it's ridiculous. And so, yeah, everybody came and supposedly caught a meth head. Like, there was no more pew pews firing off that night. So it was fun. Also, before I forget, if you guys haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps me a ton. I always forget to say it because it's weird for me to ask, but so if you could, I would appreciate it. Yeah, I like I said, didn't watch it. I watched the verdict. It's hard for me to charge and convict somebody of something that they weren't even there for. And the school didn't do anything either. So is the school now going to be on trial? So they just wanted somebody. So I don't know. It's dangerous. You didn't miss much, Stormy. Me talking about a meth head shooting off a pew pew in the night, waking me up. And it was a horrible case. You're right. And it's just, what do you do with it? And things. I can hear you say it in my mind. Does your phone understand you, Gabrielle, when you speak to it in your East Coast accent? Do you sound, is it as bad as Mark Wahlberg's? Because he's got the mafia East Coast accent. Oh, goodness. So, let's see, tomorrow's Thursday. Your phone's like, what are you saying? It would be funny if you said it, and I don't know what you have, if you have an iPhone or an Android, but whoever, Siri or whoever, was like, what? I didn't quite get that. Do you have your car keys or you're wearing khakis? I don't know. And it shows that he grew up in Boston. Hey, Kim, how you doing? I'm glad you stopped by. We are on lunch break from Adam Montgomery. He's a nice fella. Piece of work. Yeah, those are scary kinds of neighbors too. I hear you. Well, you know, I live in the country, so I should hear them, and I don't pay a lot of attention unless it's 2:30 in the morning. Uh, we had a neighbor a few driveways down from us start shooting off fireworks at like 3 in the morning one time. I really thought somebody was getting shot. Like there was I jumped up, looked out the window, kinda, like trying to look but not look, and, it was fireworks. Well, I am glad you're here. You're like Kim is an OG OG. Like, you guys are my OGs, but she has been here from the beginning. I can't even say khakis because I'm trying to say khakis and car keys. I'll I'll never be able to say it ever without thinking, yeah, well, me too. So it's all good. It's all good. We're Gabrielle's East Coast if you haven't figured that out, Kim. So we figure we might need her to interpret some of these words we're gonna hear. You know what? Sometimes there's just nothing they can do with them, Stormy. You just it's like my sister and I were talking about this. They keep saying we need more mental health help and more mental health help and more mental health help. Don't disagree. But if you have an adult and they don't want it, they don't have to take it. And there's really nothing you can do about it. And it's sad because it leaves a lot of people in bad situations. Oh, yeah. Sleep deprived moms are not nice. Yeah, I didn't make myself a bigger target. I was just like, do I need to be a witness here? Because I just for some reason I was thinking neighbors weren't getting along. I hadn't heard anything. There was nothing that said it, but it just woke me up out of a dead sleep. And the way that the fireworks went off was very much as a pew pew would go off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gone. Somebody's gone. But nope, just fireworks. Yep. And then sometimes you can get them help and then they stay there, start feeling better, leave, and then think they don't need their medications or anything like that or help anymore because they're feeling better and they don't understand why they're feeling better. And it's just a circle and it doesn't end sometimes. And it's frustrating. It's hard. Oh, whoopsies. Yeah, sorry for a second. You gotta, I don't, you got self-deleting and unalive for those two words. I don't want to get in trouble. It could be Gabrielle. Our town of 2,000. It ain't big enough for all of us. Yep. Yep. Yeah. We've had to deal with it and in our family, and it's rough because you really, really, really want to help the person and you want to help the people around them that it's affecting, and you get them there. And like I said, sometimes they'll take them and they'll get better and they'll be like, go do this, do that. If you can get a judge involved. And then they do. And then they stop. And then it all begins all over again. And you got to wait for something else to happen. And you never know what that thing's going to be. If it's going to be what Roseanne said. And you're going to have somebody gone either side. The person that needs the help or the person that can't get them the help. And it sucks. All right. What time did she say come back? 1?
I don't know. It's cold in here.
My daughter.
Cold.
It's cold. And then, so downstairs, she's downstairs sleeping, gets up. It's hot. Now it's cold. Part of that's just being a woman.
Yep.
Yep. Hamilton and Carmen working at the jail. It's same thing. Same people. Over and over and over. They can't, you get them the help, they won't stick with it. Some people do. I'm not saying everybody. It's just really hard.
My favorite was when there was a time we released somebody and then they came right back in. I'm like, did you even make it out of the parking lot? Because I just let you go. And then they're like, no. That's okay.
They, I think they moved the window because the jail, the justice building is on a main street and not in my town. We have a little teeny tiny Mayberry Andy Griffith jail. But when you would drive down, because you're going downtown, and these women would be standing outside holding signs up to their person that's incarcerated, and they're all doing all this weird sign language and I love yous and it was just kind of like, what's going on? But I think they moved them so that they couldn't stand there on the street and do that, because it did get kind of distracting. And one of my friends, she's a court reporter, and she would be like, man, we'd walk by and all you could see is their cracked twos. I'm like, they're cracked twos? She meant their tramp stamps. Oh, you guys have it rough. Gabrielle. Roseanne. You in Hamilton? Absolutely. Can't imagine. My daughter-in-law, she's a respiratory therapist, and right now she's working with the NICU, and she's pregnant. So she's all over the place already with, hormones, but it's rough on her because she sees stuff, and I just like, that's not seem to be the place to be when you're pregnant. She was scared at first to go in there. She didn't want to. Excuse me. But she is glad that she did, but she sees it too. Not as bad as you guys probably do, but especially in the ER. And she does have to work in the ER sometimes, but yeah. Just like your guys' stories, Carmen's stories, they're not all that different. Except you guys can give them stuff to make them go to sleep. Not forever. Not forever. But she can't do that. Or she can't. Well, she doesn't work there anymore. Thank goodness. But yeah, you guys can be like, you're in pain? Okay. You go night-night now. Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. That is another subject that just divides everybody. I don't know if it does as much as it did, but well, sometimes they deserve to feel a little pain, right? Because they're being jerks. Oh, absolutely. Yep. And Carmen went through the same thing. Sometimes she'd share. I knew I couldn't share. And it was just like, I don't know how you guys all hang on to this. Where's it at, Gabrielle? We've got time to kill. We've got time to unalive. We would never, ever, ever hurt time.
See, this is fun. Now I get to mod you too, because I'm sitting right next to you.
All right, give me a sec. I can't see over there. Now I can't see them. All right. Which one is it? I've got, when I type in Boston accent, I got Boston accent trailer, late night with Seth Meyers, Boston accent lesson with Matt Damon. Stone. For richer, for poorer. I'm just looking at shorts, the YouTube shorts, but can she say Carhartt? Seth Meyers. All right, give me a sec. When I boosted the court, they said that was loud. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's the problem, Hamilton, is they don't have enough help. They can't keep people. All right. Here we go. Hope I don't blast your ears off. Let me know. Oh, I can't play on that. Everything.
In a town where loyalty is king, where the line between right and wrong is blurred, and justice is anything but blind, one thing reigns supreme.
You all know me. I'm not just a cop. I'm a father, I'm a son, and above all, I'm from Boston.
Boston Accent. Critics are calling the film Boston Accent gritty, emotional, and the movie with the most Boston accents this year. The Politician, with the upscale Kennedy-type Boston accent.
I am the mayor of Boston, and I was elected to clean up this town, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to get my hands dirty.
The townie who says the word bro in every sentence.
Bro, don't tell me to chill out, because I'm cranked up, bro. And I know where you live, bro. And bro, I know where you work, bro. And bro, I know what you drive, bro. A Nissan Maxima, bro.
The hard-nosed detective played by a British actor who's trying his best but doesn't quite have it.
I know he thinks he's wicked smart, but here's the thing, I'm wicked smarter.
And one actor who decided at the last minute not to do a Boston accent at all.
I'm gonna go park the car in Harvard Yard.
Vanity Fair calls Boston accent a tour de force of dropped R's and a brilliant showcase of the words wicked and pisser. The New York Times says, as with all movies set in Boston, I spent less time paying attention to the plot and more time thinking, that accent is good, or yikes, what's that guy doing? I kept wondering if the director ever stepped in and asked, where do you think your character is from? Featuring the word 40, but said in the Boston way.
40, bro. 40. Sorry. 40.
And loaded with geographical references to cities and towns in Massachusetts and the greater Boston area.
I can meet you in an hour in Worcester. How about Medford? How about Dorchester? How about Gloucester? How about Taunton? My cousin Eric's from Taunton. Wicked. So do you want to meet there? Nah, how about Weymouth?
Oh.
How about Revere? What about Somerville? How about Marblehead?
I'm going to get copyright struck if I'm still here. Am I still here? Did I get taken down? I forget about the copyrights. Am I still, can you guys still see me? I got a warning. I can't play anymore. Yep, sorry. Hope you got it, because I got a warning. I can't play any more of this. Sorry. Thank goodness Carmen was here. Yep, I got a warning. It's okay, Gabrielle. I wasn't thinking. It's old. That is an old it's an old skit. It's not like it happened yesterday. So you never know if they're gonna do anything. But we got it. It's still funny. Oh, the movie The Perfect Storm, Roseanne? That's sad. That whole story is sad. I will check it out. I think I can play like 30 seconds of stuff if I and not get a copyright issue. If I'm, I don't know what that means. Oh, well, I can't put that up, Adair. You just never know what they're gonna give you a warning on. But yep. Yeah, that whole situation was sad, and that movie was hard to watch. Just because it's true. It's kind of like Titanic. You just want them to survive just once. Just get on the door. Jack, come on, scoot over, Rose. And these guys are just going, don't go out. Don't go out. All right, let me make sure that. Oh, it went all the way back. All right, we're still in a break. Yes, there was definitely room on the door. Somebody did tried it and said he couldn't have got up there. Like, no, there was room. And why? Why'd she throw the necklace into the ocean? Just sell it. You could have had not that she had a bad life. Her pictures look good. But just sell it. I can't even watch it anymore. For some reason, it makes me super sad, and I just get sad. So I don't, like, for days, I just don't watch it. Yep, they weren't real. It still doesn't help me not be sad. It's like, just once. Can you just once make it somehow? It's vindicating. Yeah, when she had that, I'm like, "Why'd you not sell the heart?" And then if you're just gonna throw it in the ocean, just, you know. Yep, yep. I got a warning, and they let that go. So, I show something funny, and they say, "No." So, yeah, that's them's the rules, and I don't make them. Life. That's Yeah, I bet you did think it. I bet you were sad, Hamilton. She can try. She can try, but she needs a ride to the airport tomorrow, so she might wanna be nice.
Also, I need your car later.
Oh, and she needs to borrow my car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she better be nice. Yeah, I can't believe that. Does that make me like a grown-up YouTuber now? 'Cause I got a warning. Not the first copyright warning I gotten. Well, as soon as I got monetized, I had changed my music because they didn't care. The people I got it off of something else, and they're like, "Oh, no, this is fine. You can use it on YouTube, no problem." And as soon as I got monetized, they were like, "Yeah, no. Nope, this video will not be monetized unless you" uh, I think I would have had to share my revenue with them. I'm like, "I don't have any. I have $2 and you guys are gonna take 70% of that." Or no, I get 70% of that, and I have to give the $2 back to the person that gave it to me. Yeah.
I'll let you keep it this time.
You know what, Stormy? I will just say this. Just do it. Just do it. Just start it. It's what I just was like, I'm just gonna do it. And don't go back and watch your first videos because you'll be like, what was I thinking? And I haven't even been doing it that long, and I've learned a lot. So, but it's fun and I enjoy it. And I would just tell you, just do it. Just Nike. Probably get copyright for Nike now because just do it. You just never know what's going to happen. Trust me. I I I know I've said that. That was my experience with Miss Vander Ark. That just showed up, and it was just one of those things it was supposed to. So it was also just one of those things I didn't do a great job on. But I learned. I learned. So that's the important part. And a lot of people got to see a really bad thing that for some reason wasn't being picked up anywhere. I don't understand that. All right, you guys. We got 20 minutes. I can't play anything. I'm not going to sing for you. So, what are we going to chat about? Yeah, it's everything is copyright. Well, whoop. Well, thank you, Hamilton. I appreciate it. And thank you, Stone. It's my first videos I did with Jesse Kraszewski, I wouldn't even I just did them and then I posted them. I wouldn't go live, and my kids were like, "You need to do it live." I said, "You don't understand how many times I have to start it and start over because I can't even get through an intro. And now I don't even do an intro because I forget it all the time. And then Carmen, when she came on with me, we had to do that 4 times.
Yep.
We didn't do it live. We recorded it. And then when I said, okay, I'm posting this one, she goes, no, can we do it again? Like, no, nope. I did not. Huh.
I don't know what happened. It just blew over there.
I will tell you this. I was in Florida with 2 friends of mine back in 2013. We went to Fort Myers Beach. And so, we did the whole touristy pickup shells and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to take some sand because when we went to the East Coast and went to the Atlantic Ocean, I have sand from that beach. I wanted sand from the Gulf. I have sand from the Pacific when my parents lived in California. So I went to the beach and I put some sand in a Ziploc bag. Well, of course, as soon as it goes through at the airport, I get flagged. I'm looking over at the TSA agent like, oh my God, she looks like she's having a horrible day. Fortunately, she walked away and this younger fella came up. I'm like, you look happy, so we're going to get through this. So he has to go check my sand. And I told my friends as I walk away, I said, what would have been the chances of me picking up sand right where somebody was like, I can't do this anymore, and dumps out their whole bag of white powdery stuff that's illegal. And then I pick it up and I put it in my bag. It didn't happen. I still have the sand. But, just life is crazy. They were making so much fun of me because that I had to go through all my stuff. Like, I swear it's just sand. He goes, I don't know why you guys always want to say that, always want to take the sand with you. And I said, because I don't have it at home. If I just might want to touch it. Oh, no. But I'll let Carmen tell you her airport experience from yesterday because it's hilarious. And only her.
So for whatever reason, every time I go to the airport, the scanner always says that I have something on me, even though I don't. So I had to get patted down, and then apparently that woman wasn't satisfied. So they made me go to another room and get patted down again. But my bag and stuff is still on like the conveyor belt. Well, when it went through, my toothbrush got hit. So it was just sitting there vibrating. And they kind of just look at me like, what is vibrating in your bag? And the guy was like, because I was like, it's my toothbrush, like I promised. And the guy said, no, there's a toothbrush in the bag. So then I get on the plane, and I just had my bag in between my legs, but like the stewardess came over and picked it up for me and put it in the storage thing, but they had to like push it in there. So they hit my toothbrush and it just started vibrating. And he just looked down at me. I was like, it's my toothbrush. What do you guys think it is?
Well, according to her, the 2 gentlemen sitting across the aisle from her thought it was something. So
Oh that guy, he was like crying. He was laughing so hard.
I said, turn it off. I said, take the battery out before you go. And she goes, I can't. It's rechargeable. I said, only you, Carmen, only you. I always get scanned, but never that. Yes.
I wanted to, but you're back in court.
All right, we're back. If I can get it over here. There it goes. All right, guys, let me know. Make sure that the sound is still good when they start speaking. And Stormy, I have never been on a cruise because, Titanic and Rogue Waves and Poseidon Adventure and everything else. door decorations. Is that for your cabin door? So I'm sure when Carmen leaves tomorrow, I will have some more stories for you on Friday because
Yeah, I gotta go back through the airport.
it's Carmen. I didn't know that you decorated your door. That's interesting. Yep, driving's always better. Just takes longer.
Like 18 hours longer.
Yeah. Carmen has the sorry. But Carmen has the weirdest stories sometimes. She was younger. She was late coming home and she said there was a cow in the road.
There was.
And I was like, "What?" And there, I mean, there could have been. We live in the country. And I said, "Well, how'd you get around it?" And she said, "I threw a chip at it." So years later, I said, "Is that story true?" And she's like, "You mean the one when I threw the chip at the cow?" And I said, "Yeah, yep."
It's a true story. I didn't know what else to do.
Well, I don't think you and Stone should hang out. I'm scared you would never come back. I have never been on a cruise. And we were talking about it the other night with some friends, and she would go, and her husband, he's kind of like, I just don't want to. She asked me why I didn't want to, and I said because of what I just listed. Plus, you get those norovirus or whatever that comes through and knocks out the whole ship because everybody's puking and gagging and everything else, and then you get the ones that lose power and then everything's just gross. So I know people have a blast on them. Carmen's been on one; she loved it. But after I was telling them that story, 2 days later, I see where 136 got sick on a cruise ship and they don't know why. I'm like, yep, that's why I'm not going. I love the ocean. I just like to be on the beach. Gabrielle. I don't know why it didn't move when she threw a Lay's potato chip at it. I know what kind she had. Classic Lay's, probably from Subway.
That's exactly what that's from.
But yeah, she'd come home with some stories, and her dad would just look at me like, you don't believe that, do you? Actually, I do, because it's Carmen.
And you've also been with me
I've
sometimes.
been-
Things happen. And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, don't they? Oh, that's where chocolate milk came from. Stormy, when you go on your cruises, you have fun. For me, be careful with your door decorations. Don't be getting all patted down and stuff.
Make sure your battery's out of your toothbrush.
Yes. An hour. Lucky. Man. That's the problem. I could live on the beach and be perfectly happy. My husband have zero desire. I said, what are we gonna do when we retire? We're just gonna get divorced and I go south and you go north, and then we'll just meet up every now and then. I have some here she can borrow, I think. Yep. Mine just goes right on through, Stormy. It's always me. This fella. I wonder what he's thinking.
He's thinking,
He's like,
I don't want to be here.
yeah, like,
I'm sleepy.
I wonder if he's thinking my lunch was good, my lunch sucked. Can't believe this defendant didn't show up today. What a jerk. I'd like to take him out back. A Dunk's iced coffee. Huh. Like Dunkin' Donuts? Is that what it is? Yep. I've been to that one. I flew both with her and her brother at separate times when they were infants, but I didn't have a sling. But yeah, it's kind of like, okay, what do you want me to do? You gonna hold him? No. Well, am I supposed to roll him?
Bowl him over there. Just strike.
Old Dunkin' Donuts. My dad likes the French crullers. And what happened when you did that, Stormy? Hamilton. Hamilton, Hamilton, Hamilton. You don't have to get in. You could come live here. You don't have to worry about a beach. Oh, I like morning. I like my coffee in the morning. Not a fan of iced coffee. They were like, just put her on the plane. It'll be fine. And yes, we never got to find, though, the thing on the ceiling in the other trial. I will say this, Hamilton, never discount what they can do. When I lived in Nebraska, another small town, 5,000 people, so, twice as what I live in now, there was a deputy there. My brother can tell this story. He's 10 years older than I am. And he was a big boy. And he would tell people would think, okay, I cannot run you because you're a big boy. But he would tell them, you're not going to outrun me. And then they would try and they would fail. And that big old boy would make sure to land fully on them to make them regret running. So he could catch them and he made sure they paid for it. Oh, he's calling. He's ordering some pizza. Or maybe what do you order out there?
An iced coffee.
An iced coffee? He's getting another iced coffee. His last name was Skank. I won't say his first, but that was his last name. So, yeah, I was too young. I didn't know who he was, but my brother did, not because he got in trouble, but probably was with somebody who ran when my brother did not. Teenagers. I wonder if this guy knows we're staring at him. He's like, I wonder if people are staring at me.
It's like he's making a conscious effort not to look at the camera.
There you are. Look at me. He's like, nope. Nope. He hasn't. That's a true story.
So far.
Oh. And you know what? He just has given into the fact he's losing his hair. He's not trying comb it over and do all that stuff. Like, it's falling out. That's just what it is. It's fine. Because you know what? It's fine. What's in that big bag? Probably don't want to know. False alarm. They all stood up and nobody came. My hair's driving me nuts today. Oh, we got a whiteboard. Oh, that looks like a big pad of paper. Sorry, jury. He can bring you notes, and you can't take them. They have a big bag of iced coffee and donuts. What is coffee milk? Is that just like putting milk in your coffee? What are you guys doing out there? She just said they couldn't. I think it was because maybe their notes wouldn't be maybe accurate as to what was said or something like that. I don't know. Dumb. Huh. Well, that sounds gross. I've never heard of that. You can keep it. Lisa, I don't know. Because they don't have to be there. He waived his right to be there today. I don't think it's a good look for him. I don't know if he thinks he's going to use it as an appellate issue because he waived his right. But it's kind of like Shonda. She wasn't there, but she had to be there at the end. She had to be there at the worst part. So that may be the same thing here. I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to prove right now. And I don't know what he was trying to prove yesterday when he entered the courtroom looking stupid, smiling. Like, what are you doing? The jurors were there, the potential jurors. Well, not only am I glad I've never heard of it, I think I'm glad I've never had it. And yep, I agree, Stone. Coward. Show up. Uh-oh. Where's everybody going? Huh. Excuse me. What is happening? That was weird. I mean, surely that wasn't the jury.
Yeah, I hope not.
I would hope that wasn't the juror sitting there. Well, tell us what happened, sir. That was weird. I don't have my page pulled up that had what was happening here. I think it's WMUR, I think. I'll give you that one. But there's very pretty spots out there. So And that's another reason my husband and I can't move to the beach, because he would move to rocky beaches like on your side of the country. I would move to sandy beaches because they're pretty and they're nice and they don't hurt to walk on. And they're not cold. But they are pretty to look at in pictures. You have a different. Oh, there we go. Yes, you do. I've been on one. And I know a lady that lives out there. She gets a lot of sea glass. I think she lives actually up towards Maine now, but she finds that sea glass, which is pretty cool. All right, Judge, it's 1. Let's go. You have sandy beaches and like rocky cliffs, right? Where the lighthouses are. Yes, I've seen pictures. I've only been to Southern California. And that does look cold up there. But they are pretty. Yeah. That's what my husband likes. Those rocky, cliffy. He likes lighthouses. Definitely. I agree with you. A friend of mine, his brother lives there and he wants to move there. I'm like, why would you leave us? And he said, because it's all the history and it's fun and it's exciting. I'm just not a city girl. I can't do it. I just have never lived in the city. Went from one small town to another. Sorry, I'm trying to find if anything's happening here, why they cleared those people out. Oh, I bet. Yeah. Yeah, it's no fun to go when there's just a ton of people all the time. That is straight up my husband's alley, right there, Roseanne. He would be in heaven. A Halloween baby. And how do you feel about it? Not that you can change it. Did it interfere as a child because it was always on a holiday? Because my kids' birthdays fall, my son's can fall on Thanksgiving and Carmen's can fall on Easter sometimes, and they would get mad. Well, they won't be showing it, but I don't see anything about that.
I'm just saying, it's a typing Portuguese because I haven't said already. But I don't understand why they would take. Because they didn't clear everybody out.
All right, so this says, depending on the timing, the jurors are scheduled to go on a view Wednesday afternoon of 3 sites. The Guilford Street in Manchester. I can't even do it. I can't. I tried. where Adam Montgomery and his family once lived. This is a place where the jury will actually get. This is the only place the jury will actually get off the bus. Colonial Village Apartments. This is where the Montgomery family was living in a parking lot in their car when Harmony is believed to have been unalived in 2019. The apartment building on Union Street in Manchester. I can't do it. Again, the jury is not expected to get off the bus. The Montgomerys lived in a second floor apartment there in 2021, 2 years after Harmony was allegedly unalived. Hang on. The prosecution alleges Adam Montgomery hid her body in that apartment before disposing of it. Yep.
Court TV said after a 10-minute bench conference, the judge went back off the bench and the family members were guided out of the courtroom. Nothing has been said in open court. Stay tuned for more.
Well, so we can discuss you poor people that have.
I'm wondering if you just took a plea deal.
No way.
Could happen. That could be why they just took everybody out.
Roseanne, my nephew's birthday is on Christmas Eve. So, yep, you get ripped off. And thank you. I know it's very pronounced because my mouth doesn't want it. My brain's going, that's not how you say Manchester. I don't know the point of going to the scene. Hamilton, they like to do that. They went in the Bell McNabb trial. They went to that trailer park to see the trail in that road that was there. So I don't know if it was to try to see that, hey, look, it's really close to this road, or hey, here's this small area. To me, if it's a really small area, I think that would work against the state because people would be like, well, why didn't anybody know? But I don't know. I don't know why they want them to go see I don't know who asked for it. But wouldn't that be something? We've been sitting here all this time and he took a freaking plea deal. And then, don't ask me what we'd be doing next because I don't know. I saw there was a pretrial hearing for the Microsoft exec or whatever that was unalived by his wife and her boyfriend by somebody else. Does that make sense? I can't think of her name. She just got back into the country because she was in the Bahamas, I think, hiding out. I have not heard anything else about Tucker.
Court TV said, getting spicy. Family back in the gallery, still no judge and still no explanation of what is going on.
Well, then why is it getting spicy?
I don't know. That's what they said.
I've been looking for stuff about Tucker, but I haven't seen anything. I'm having Carmen check one place and see if he himself has updated anything. Is that because that's what happens out there? They're like, I want to find him guilty first. No, I do. There was nothing. All right, nothing on Tucker. I don't have Facebook. She does. I thought maybe his Facebook page would have something. I kept forgetting to ask her to look.
I mean, it said something 2 days ago.
Well, that could happen pretty much anywhere today because people are not in happy places. Unless you're here, we're all happy, right? Except y'all weren't very happy when I totally gave you the Bell update, Courtney Bell. Like, I don't think you guys are going.
Council approach.
Whatever. Whose family did they take out? His family?
That's what court TV said.
But they should be shouldn't they be seated on the other? I don't know which side is which yet. That's because that's not true, Gabrielle. We are happy out here. We're happy. We're not as happy as we used to be, but we're happy. And we all say hi to each other. Just people talk to me in the grocery store all the time, ask me how my day's going. I usually have an earbud in, so I had to take it out or just be like, it's good. I don't know what you're saying to me.
All rise for the jurors, please.
I know you don't. When we went to Vermont, my mom said she was going to give $1 to the first person that smiled at her, and she left with her dollar.
All right, for the jury.
Happy people there. It's too cold. Ping.
You may be seated. All right, sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. One thing I think you will learn as you go through this process is sometimes things go exactly as we plan, and sometimes they do not. Right now, they are not going exactly as we had previously planned. So I apologize for the delay. And there are a lot of moving parts in a trial. So sometimes we need to switch things up. So originally I had said that we were going to come in and do opening statements. We're going to do something a little different than that. As I said, we're going to be going on a view today. So prior to a view, the lawyers will give you what's called a preview statement to give you some information about what they want you to look at and what they anticipate that you will see on the view. We're going to do that first. So I'm going to give you an instruction regarding the view. Then the state and the defense will give you their preview statements. Okay. And then we will wait for the bus to come. And when everybody's ready, we'll get on the bus and we'll go for the view. Then depending on what time it is after that and other circumstances, we'll determine whether opening statements will be this afternoon after the view or whether they'll be tomorrow. Okay. So listen carefully to this instruction. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin this case with a view. We will be traveling to several locations within the city of Manchester to observe certain areas you will be hearing testimony about. The purpose of the view is to make the testimony you will hear more understandable. If you have the opportunity to look at a scene, the testimony may make more sense to you. Your obligation on the view is to look as carefully as you can and to remember what you see as well as you can. You may not ask questions. You may not take any notes or measurements. You should look carefully at what the lawyers will be pointing out to you. What you see on the view is evidence in this case. Please stay as close together as possible so that you will all be viewing the scene from approximately the same perspective. If you cannot hear or see, please call that to my attention or to the attention of one of our court officers. After the view is completed, you may not revisit the scenes on your own during trial. Also, you may not engage in any discussion among yourselves or with anyone else concerning what you see at the view. As you know, you are not to talk with each other or with anyone else about the case until the end of the trial when you are conducting your deliberations. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, counsel will have the opportunity to make their preview statements to you concerning what they expect you will be seeing on the view.
Yes, these are preview statements of what they want them to look at when they're out there. But no opening statements yet. So weird.
my first opportunity to talk to you as the jury, Big J, as opposed to Little J. Let me thank you again for your time that you're going to be putting forward not only today but throughout the trial. It's very important both to society, to the government, to the citizens, and it is very, very much appreciated. The first part of your job, for the most part, is going to be taking place in this room. The vast majority of it dealing with the witnesses and the exhibits that you see. But as you just heard from Judge Messer, another part is going to be the view. This is evidence, what you're going to see today. It is going to be work on the view. You're going to have to walk around in 2 different locations. And the rest of them will require you to look out the windows of a bus to be able to take into account the neighborhoods that you were in. I'm going to explain every place that we're going to go in just a moment. And the defense counsel will also have that same opportunity. Together, we are going to see where this happened. You're going to get to see the same places, the same locations in person that you are later on going to see and hear evidence at trial. And you've already heard, again, Judge Messer's instruction. You should consider today's view to be like evidence. In a few minutes, we are going to get on a bus, maybe about now, and we're going to see a couple different locations in Manchester. In some ways, it's going to be the beginning of a journey that you will likely never forget. This is also the last journey that Harmony Montgomery took while she was alive and where her body went afterwards. It's a journey that's into the actions of the defendant on that day and the days forward. And we're going to drive by places where Harmony was first assaulted, where she was later killed, or she was later consolidated and crushed. And then finally, the different other locations of where the defendant had her in the city. What you are going to see today is part of the evidence. Some of the locations that we're going to drive by, we are just going to pass by in the bus for a minute, and the bus is going to pull over to the side of the road. So you have an opportunity to look at that location, take in the surroundings. And on 2 of the locations, we will physically get out. One will be a parking lot, and the other one will be an intersection. We will not be going into any residences. Later on, you're going to hear testimony about different homes. We may be driving by an apartment complex today, but we will not be going inside any actual rooms where Harmony was or where Harmony later was kept. So we will be outside for the 2 times that we get out of the bus. So before we do that, I want to kind of start at the beginning. The first place that we're going to go to, and this is Ms. Johnson, forget my art skills, high school. We're going to start at the courthouse. And the first place that we're going to go to is we're going to go down past Elm Street. Definitely not to scale. We're going to come across Merrimack, and we're going to go up here on Market Street. And at that point, we're going to pull the bus over to the side of the road, and you're going to be able to look out, and I would say look out the right-hand side of the bus to the area of 20 Market Street. That's the location of the methadone clinic where the defendant took Harmony that morning with the rest of the family inside a 2010 gray Chrysler Sebring. When you're there, I want you to be able to take into account just the outside of the building and also look at the neighborhood. I want you to see the number of other businesses that are nearby, the number of other cars that are nearby, the number of the amount of foot traffic that may be there while we're there. You're going to hear in opening arguments that it was at that first location outside the methadone clinic that the defendant came out from getting his medication, got into the car, and understood that Harmony had had an accident, saying, "Where's the effect of really Harmony again?"
Objection, Your Honor.
Approach.
These kind of sounds like opening statements, not what we want you to see when you get there. I don't know. Maybe that's why he didn't come, was because they're going to leave. I'm guessing tomorrow for opening statements. By the time it's 1:19, she said they go till 4. By the time they get done with this stuff, get on the bus. I don't know how far it is. I'm guessing no opening statements today, but this kind of sounds like an opening statement. And Stone, I don't know if the last location is where they think everything kind of happened. I've read something yesterday and I couldn't find it today that they did DNA testing on the site up in the, I don't know if it was the vent or whatever, but it was 1.1 trillion times more likely it was Harmony and some unknown person than two unknown people. So I think she was there.
Ladies and gentlemen, that objection is neither sustained or withheld. The
Name is not ringing a
the
bell.
state will clarify. Go ahead.
When we're at that location, later on, you're going to hear testimony at that location. When Adam came out from that location, you hear testimony that he sensed and smelled at the bathrooms. And then that's where the assaults began of striking. That's why it's important for you to look around, to see what else and who else is there, and to know what that area looks like. From there, we're going to then come back onto Elm Street. Probably do a loop around. Go north on Elm. Then we're going to go up to Webster Street at the top of Elm. And that's right over where you get past where you go on the bridge, the big Brady Sullivan Tower there. We're going to take Webster Street out. And here, we're going to go out on Daniel Webster Highway. And there's a Burger King. When we get to the Burger King again, we won't be getting out of the bus. We'll be staying inside, and you'll have a chance to look at that parking lot. What the state is asking you to do is to pay close attention during that drive. How many stoplights roughly are we going through? What are the road conditions like? How long does it take to get there? You're going to hear testimony later on about that same drive. You're going to hear testimony how during that drive, the defendant's assaults continued. He continued to hit Harmony as they stopped at red lights, as they stopped at stop signs. That's why you need to pay close attention during that drive. And we're going to go out to that location. After we've had a minute or two to sit in the bus there at Burger King, and you've had a chance to see the traffic flow, see what cars are like. At that time, we're then going to turn around. We're going to come back down Webster, continue north on Elm, and then we're going to cut over to an area on West River Drive, approximately 59 West River Drive. And there, we're going to make our first stop where we get out of the buses. 59 West River Drive is one of the street locations for Colonial Village Apartments. It's right up on, you can see poorly drawn river. It's right on the backside there. We're going to be pulling in between those buildings and going to a very large back parking lot that's behind there. This is where you'll hear testimony that the defendant lived in his car after they had been evicted from their Guilford Street home, and where the defendant kept Harmony and the rest of his family after they left Burger King, after he continued to hit her, and drove back there to eat his food while Harmony was moaning. You're going to hear testimony that that's where he used his drugs while Harmony died. When you're there, I'm asking you to notice the number of apartment buildings that are nearby. Look at the number of cars that are in the parking lot, how big that parking lot is. I'm also going to ask you to take notice in that back parking lot area, look towards the tree line. Look at the very back row, closest to the river, where different cars can park. Notice all of that while you're there. It's going to be more than 1 or 2 minutes. So you can get out, you can certainly walk around, take your time to really look in that area and look at the different details that are there. Also look up at the side of the building. I'd like you to know whether or not you see lights on the side of the building that illuminate that parking lot, whether there are street lights that illuminate that parking lot. So do that while you're there. Once we're done, we'll get back on the bus and we're going to drive back towards the city, back on West River Road, back to Elm, and then south to the intersection with Webster. The buses are going to pull over on the side here, and we're going to get back out yet again. You'll hear testimony that it was here that the defendant's Gray Sebring died in the intersection. That it was here that where, with his family, the car stopped working. And that it was here, just before he needed to get a tow, you'll hear how he went to the back seat, found that Harmony was no longer alive. I want you to look very closely around that intersection. Look at the traffic going through that intersection, the number of people that were available at that intersection. We're also going to hear the testimony that at that time, when he realized that she was dead, that when you look at the different businesses around, I want you to remember that when later on you're hearing testimony, how his actions was to take Harmony and to stuff her in a duffel bag. You'll also hear later a trial from a tow truck driver, and you'll hear about a gas station on the corner. So while we're in the intersection, and we're not going to be standing in the middle of the intersection, obviously, we're going to be standing on the sidewalk. But while you're there and you can move around, take note of how far away that gas station is and the short distance that the tow truck driver had to bring the car. And once we've spent enough time considering all of these, then we're going to be going to another address. You're going to hear a testimony about a lot of different addresses where the defendant brought Harmony's body out to us. We're not going to be going to the first two addresses. That one that involves, you'll hear involves a deck, another one that involves a red cooler. We're not going to be here. We're not going to be driving by one on Lake Avenue as well that you'll hear testimony later on about where he stored Harmony in the ceiling. Where we're going to go is 644 Union Street. So from this intersection, we'll come back onto the buses, onto Webster, come over to Union Street, and head south. And the intersection of 644 Union Street is right at the intersection of Union and Orange. So Orange is the cross street. You're going to see two buildings. We're going to be stopping right outside here, 644 Union. Testimony that you will hear later on involves also a parking lot that's general in the back. But here we're not going to be getting off the buses. You're not going to have to go inside. We're going to ask you to again look out the right-hand side of the buses and the size of the building. While you're there, we're going to ask you to please take a look at the number of apartments that are there, the number of neighbors that the defendant would have had based upon looking at those apartments. Look at the traffic, look at the lighting, look at the neighborhood. Later on, you're going to hear more testimony about that apartment and what took place in that apartment. Again, we will not be getting out of the buses. You do not have to go in that apartment. When we're done at Union Street, the buses will pull away. We'll come down to Bridge, back onto Elm, back south to Merrimack, and then back to the courthouse. I'm going to ask you to look at one last thing on this drive. As we come back to the intersection of Merrimack Street and Elm, roughly here compared to how I'm pointing right now, down at that intersection, right across the street from each other, there's the Thirsty Moose Tap House, which is right on Merrimack. Right across the street from that is a Chase Bank right now. When we drive back down Elm, and then we take that left-hand turn to come up Merrimack Street to come back to the courthouse, I'm going to ask you to look out the right-hand bus the window. We're not going to be slowing down there. It's Elm Street, a little too busy. But I do want you to look outside that Chase Bank. In the winter of 2020, you will hear testimony that that was not a bank, that that was the Portland Pie Company, pizza shop, that that was where the defendant worked. And you're going to also hear testimony that that was where, on one occasion, he ordered his wife to bring a CMC bag containing Harmony's body and stored it inside a freezer, seen by other witnesses. So when you hear those witnesses and they talk about Portland Pie Company, we're going to be driving by that location. Again, it's a bank now. It's not a pizza place anymore. But understand where that location is to be able to better understand the testimony that you're going to hear throughout the rest of this. And let me stress again, what you see on this view is going to be evidence. The locations we're stopping at: the Habit methadone plant, the Burger King up on Daniel Webster Highway, coming back to Colonial Village where we'll get out, to the intersection of Elm and Webster where we will also get out, the drive by 644 Union Street, and then back to Elm, and the drive by what was Portland Pie Company before we come back to the courthouse. This will be your only opportunity, as you heard from the court, to look at these places in person until the end of this trial. So take your time. If you need more time, please let the court staff know. We will stay longer in the parking lot. We will stay longer at the intersection. We have great deputies and bailiffs who will allow you to be able to explore the space in a safe manner, so that you're not going to feel like you've got traffic right on top of you or anything like that. So do please take your time. But when you listen to the testimony from the different witnesses, these are 5 of the key locations that you're going to hear. So it's important that you know what they look like in person before you hear that testimony. Based upon that, again, after you hear this and if you see all of the evidence of this case, we'll ask you to return a verdict that is just. But I would also ask you if you would please do also pay close attention to defense counsel's comments about the view, because again, the more observations that you can make on today's view, the better it will be for you to understand the testimony you see later on. And it's a one-only shot. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
I hope the defense doesn't sound like they hate the microphone.
Good afternoon. This is where the trial really begins for you, and you literally step into it. You step onto the bus, you go to places. These places are exhibits of your mind. These places in your mind you apply to everything else that you hear, see, and consider in this case. The state said that this was the last journey that Harmony made. This is where the dispute starts. This is not the journey that Harmony made, but this will be the journey that we make today. And when we leave here and we go to Merrimack Street, that's a clinic. And it is a clinic that you'll hear testimony that Adam and Kayla frequented all the time, or quite a bit. And that when you're there, I want you to look. We can't recreate what was happening on particular days or particular weeks, who might have been coming and going at what time. So you actually can only look around and see the exposure. What is the parking there? What can you see? What is exposed? What is hidden? And then apply the evidence that you hear about events that may have occurred there, and consider, could this have happened? Put your mind to the testimony and apply it. This is what I saw. This is what I remember. This is what the witness is saying. It is your evidence, but it's evidence in the case. Then you'll go from the clinic to Burger King. And at Burger King, that's really very, very important to look at that entire layout. Again, we can't recreate the amount of traffic that was on a particular day or a week. We can't recreate any of that stuff. But you look at the parking. I want you specifically to look at how that drive-through works out when you make the order and then you pay the cashier and then you get your food. Take that into consideration. Take the time to think about a route through the drive-through. What is exposed? What is hidden? Who can see what from what angle? Think about the cashier. Think about all of the stuff around the drive-through. And actually, when you're there and stop, think about that from the time somebody goes into the parking area. And again, you will be applying that to somebody else's testimony. And then you'll be thinking and applying that. Does this work? Does this not work? What's going on here? It is your evidence. From there, you heard that we're going to Colonial Village. And that is a place that you're getting out. So you will take the time. Traffic's going to be different from testimony that you hear about, but you want to look what is exposed, what is hidden from particular places, looking at the building. What can you see? What can't you see? We're going to direct you to particular places and areas and say, take a look and consider from this perspective, something that pictures can never quite do. And you got to hold it in your mind and again, apply it to testimony as it comes in. This is an exhibit throughout the trial, not just for this afternoon. From the Colonial, you will go to Elm and Webster, which is a place that you're going to get out. And that is really critical on traffic because, again, it can't be recreated. But there is going to be testimony about traffic, about reaction to traffic. There's a car that's broken down there, and about what people did about the car, about what traffic was like because the car was broken down. And you want to, again, look, what's exposed, what is hidden, and apply your exhibit in your head to the testimony that comes here at trial. Then fit shelter is the next place. And you're going to hear about information that happened inside fit shelter. So you won't have that sort of same perspective of what's exposed and what's not exposed because you won't actually see that part. And there's testimony about fit shelter that is very disturbing, but you still need to go there so that you put it in place about the type of place that it is. And
Objection? I'm sorry, I think there's an objection.
I was thinking this, like, can they go somewhere and there not be traffic? They maybe can't recreate the traffic, but there's going to be traffic. Do they get to eat at the Burger King? There's been a lot of Burger Kings in these trials here lately. Poor Burger King. Yeah, I think the reason they don't take the cameras to a jury view is
Essentially withdraw.
messing up my words.
the risk
Union
of
Avenue.
the jury being shown
Sorry.
on the camera.
You will not be going into Union Avenue, but some very disturbing things occurred at Union Avenue. So you want to hold this into your head. Think about the building. Think about the location. Remember Union Avenue, even though you can't go into it. And I think you'll be very happy that you don't go into it. All of this is an exhibit inside of your head, and keep the names a little bit better than I did. I'm so sorry about that. But the location is the same, and this is the journey that we are taking. And at the end from Union Avenue, you're going to come back here. And as they say, pass by the corner at Merrimack and Elm. Keep that in mind. I also want you to keep in mind the distance from the two. Distance in this case is a little bit less important, but still something to keep in mind as a person testifies about traveling from place to place, about how long does it take, the traffic lights, what is the delay. And I did forget, at each of those traffic lights, I want you to look around again, just as you're going through the traffic lights, what's exposed, what is hidden. You're going to be on streets. Assume that everything on the street is exposed. Look around on the sidewalks and the areas around it as well. It's a difficult thing. Again, you're not taking notes. And you're going to have to remember this as you apply it to all of the testimony in this case. All of these locations are important. Not necessarily for the reasons that the state said. There is a dispute going on here, but there is no dispute that all these locations are very, very important. And we can only ask you to pay attention as best you can. When we get there, we'll just remind you of perspective and specific areas to look at. I believe that we'll be going behind you to make sure that the bus stops long enough for you to absorb all of the areas before you go to the next one, until you step out and actually walk around, starting at Colonial Village. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the preview statements. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send you back into the jury deliberation room. This is a good time to use the restroom, have a drink of water. I think we've got a little bit of time before the bus arrives. We will let you know when the bus arrives, and you'll be escorted by the court officers. I will be on the bus with you, as well as some of the court staff. The lawyers will be going separately. So just be patient. As soon as the bus is ready for us and all of our business here is concluded, we will go ahead and get on the bus and begin the view. All right. The reminder about not talking about the case with each other or with anyone else, or doing any independent research, make sure you don't do that. Okay. All rise for the jurors, please.
Yeah, but I think it was just mostly because they might not be an accurate representation of what was said, which to me is more accurate than your memory. It's going to be because I don't know. She had a reason for it. I kind of was in shock that she said it, so I didn't, I didn't catch it all.
Counsel.
Same. How would we know? And because we haven't heard opening statements yet, we don't know what the defense is, like what the defense is going, what their angle is going to be. And so that makes it super hard. Like, what are you looking for? She says, Hamilton says, we get it, lady. Look around. What are you looking around for? What's hidden? What's exposed? What's that mean? Because we don't know where you're trying to get to, because we've not heard your defense for this. What does it mean? We won't know because we don't see it. Well, I mean, Gabrielle, that could be the reason she's the judge. So she's like the mama of the courtroom. And she said no notes. That's the way it is. So, Roseanne, ever since I left Nebraska, I knew my directions north, south, east, west. It was easy. I got to Indiana, and I've been here for well over 30 years. And I'm upside down. I'm backwards. My north and south and east and west are all reversed. And it drives me nuts. I don't know why I cannot get my sense of direction here, but I cannot. Well, I wish Carmen was here to see that. She does not take that. She did not take that for an answer because I said so. Okay, well, here's my argument. And I'm going to say it until I wear you down. But she's not sitting here right now. As you can see, I have an empty chair. And she knows I speak truth. All right, well, I hope the audio gets better because it's not great. The judge's is awesome. I had great hope for it because hers is so good. The lawyers, just typical lawyers, don't know where the microphones are. Or I don't know if I was trying to see if they had like lapel mics on them, but I didn't see one, but they sound like they ate it. So yeah. because that was awful. So I was trying to remember which side the defense and the state was sitting on. Is that his family that is sitting behind the table? When they say that's family members, who's who? I'm very curious. Nope. Judge want or deputy wants some coffee milk? Is that what it's called? Extra syrup. And I'm curious. He better be there the rest of this trial. He didn't want to come today because they were going to go on a jury view. That's fine. He better be here, though. I mean, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. Complain. Make fun of him. Like, just show up. I'm trying to, because I just, I, I don't know. I hope not. I try to come in and be very balanced. Make the state put on their case. Make them prove this guy's guilt. So
You admit to each and every element of the offense of falsifying physical evidence and abuse of corpse. Is that okay? And did you speak with your lawyers in detail about that?
Yes, I did.
And have you reviewed the opening statement in which they will tell that to the jurors?
Yes, I did.
And do you wish for them to acknowledge your guilt on both of those charges, falsifying physical evidence and abuse of corpse?
Yes.
And do you understand that it would be the state's obligation to prove each and every element of those offenses beyond a reasonable doubt before the jury could find you guilty? Do you understand that?
Yes.
And that by agreeing to allow them to acknowledge this in opening statements, the jurors can find you guilty of those two offenses, relying
Yes.
on that information. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and that is what you wish to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you have any further question about that?
No, I do not.
All right. Anything further that the state requests?
As further the state request, we assume that the court would take that into account and make a decision whether or not he's making a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of essentially proof of his facts and proceeding this way, which the court will do.
Okay. So anything you want to add, Attorney Smith?
Not on that issue.
Okay. So, Mr. Montgomery, having heard from you that you've discussed this with your lawyers, that you've reviewed the opening statements, the draft of the opening statement, that you acknowledge that you understand that the burden of proof is on the state to prove each of those offenses beyond a reasonable doubt, and that understanding that it is your desire for them to proceed with that strategy, the court does find that this is a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of your rights and will allow them to proceed on that basis. Okay?
Oh, yep.
Okay. So while I have you, today you did refuse transport, so I want to talk to you about tomorrow. As we discussed with you this morning, you can't change your mind midway through the day, but you can inform the court if you wish to come tomorrow. And what I would like to do, and each day thereafter. So you can come and we will send a transport for you. That is your absolute right. But as I explained to you this morning, it's also your right to waive your presence and for us to proceed in your absence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to instruct the sheriff's office and the Department of Corrections that someone will ask you tomorrow morning, do you wish to come to court today? We will have transport available to you if you want to come, but I am not inclined to send a car up there to pick you up only to have you refuse. So do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any concern about that procedure?
No, I do not.
Okay. So it is our intention to have someone ask you tomorrow morning whether or not you wish to come. And whenever they come to ask you that question, they're going to need an answer from you so that we have sufficient time to make sure that we get you down here in order for us to start the trial in a timely manner. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I believe your counsel will be speaking to you later, at some point later today.
Not
Oh,
today.
not
We
today.
can't.
Okay.
24-hour notice.
Each day thereafter of this trial, unless and until the court makes a different order on that. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything further from the state while Mr. Montgomery is present?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Montgomery, you're free to go now. I appreciate that that you are speaking with us when we need to speak with you, because we are keeping the jurors waiting when we do this.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. You're all set.
Wow. That's interesting.
All right. Counsel, we will wait to hear when the bus is here. As soon as the bus is here, I guess I'll just have you all notified. Yes. Yes, I know. Oh, the bus is not here, right? When we thank you, Peter. When the bus is here, let us know so that we can gather everybody up and make sure everybody's in their respective vehicles at the right time. So we'll have somebody, probably the court officer will check in with you. I'll get on the bus with the court staff and the jurors when we get the go ahead from everybody. Okay. All right. Very good. Let me know if you need me before then.
He did not take a deal.
Attorney Gotti, counsel.
He is, from what I could gather, from what little, since we didn't get all of it, he is agreeing to plead guilty to abuse of a corpse and falsifying evidence. Well, if you're pleading guilty to those two things and they're going to tell them that in their opening statements, you don't stand a chance. If they're saying that you did this to your daughter and you're like, well, I didn't do that, but I abused her corpse and I falsified the evidence around it. That's not going to fly. So yeah, he apparently, I don't know. I thought he was taking a deal, just like you guys did. But so yeah, the state gets to say that he's pleading guilty to those, and I guess the defense can use that. They were going to use it in their opening statement, so now they can just acknowledge it. Yep, he admits he did that. Like, well, just admit you did it all then. Because even if you didn't, that just kind of says you did. Unless, I mean, am I wrong? Is that what you guys kind of think too? I don't know. Right. Lost my cursor. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My state just doesn't want to offer a deal. He could say Kayla did it. She's certainly what the police have in her affidavit, she's got a lot of detail that she helped. So, not that she helped the initial part that caused them to have to hide her, but that she did help in hiding her. So, I don't know. That was weird. I wondered why they were wheeling the TV in there. I'm like, they're leaving. And so the state is on the side the defense is on the side I thought they would be on. So then that means whatever family is sitting there is sitting behind the state. He can try. He certainly can try. Maybe that's what he's going for. It's weird already. I mean, I've never seen this. It's weird because we're like in trial and we haven't even had opening statements yet to say, this is what we're going to prove to you. This is what the evidence is going to show. That this is what the evidence is going to show. And they're not, and the defense hasn't even got to say, oh no, it's not going to show that at all because he was at Burger King, because everybody goes to freaking Burger King after they do things, apparently. This is weird. It's crazy. It's just out of the norm. I don't know. I'm still thinking with it being 2, the bus not there, or almost 2, that we're not getting to opening statements today. There is a bunch of shenanigans, and we're not going to get to hear most of them. We are a group of shenanigans and koala bears. I don't know how else to describe us. That's what we are. So I don't do. Do you see any updates? Let me look and see if there's updates on the news site here about what just happened. All right, so they just say he's in negotiations to concede to some charges, which he just did. Now they're reporting that opening statements will take place Thursday and not today. And that's their last update. So they are saying the schedule switch comes after sources told News 9 investigates that the defendant could concede to some of the charges. And that's what he just did. So he's charged with now. So he conceded to the abuse and the falsifying of evidence. So that leaves second degree unaliving, second degree assault, and witness tampering. If that witness tampering didn't go with falsifying evidence, which I did, but I didn't hear him mention it. Boy, you want to like get in somebody's mind right now. I would love to know what he's thinking. I guess I could take them off. Well, yeah. And it's afternoon. So I don't see it. All right. So I guess what I'm going to do is I guess I'm going to jump off here and I'll keep an eye on things because I just don't really think that's going to happen. And so we'll just plan on doing opening statements on Friday because that's when I can be back. And then we get to skip all these things. Most of the time she does have khakis on. So my plan is we'll do tomorrow's on Friday, Friday's on Saturday, and then we'll be caught up for Monday. And then we'll just rinse and repeat. So, yeah, that's the plan. So we'll stay pretty caught up, but we won't have to sit through these long breaks of nothing. Anything you'd like to say before you go? This is probably her won't be an appearance for a little bit, so Carmen needs to sign off.
Signing out.
And I know it's going to break some of your hearts because hopefully when she goes back home, she will be cleared to go back to work, so she will not be on stream because she works nights. But so she won't be here.
Nope. I work night shift, 12-hour shift, 12 days straight. So I'm a little tired at the end.
Yep. So that's the plan. But she'll be going home to her warm weather tomorrow. All right, you guys. Well, if something happens and they end up somehow coming back, I will hurry up and throw up a stream and we'll get going on it. But I'm not seeing it. And ping is Gabrielle's way of saying bye to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Let's see. What's the date? Friday. 7th, 8th, 9th. You got to work that day.
Yep.
Never mind. I thought she might be here with us one more day. But nope. She's got to go make that money.
Gotta go mess with some oil pipes.
Because she's in Texas. All right. We're going. Thank you for being here. You guys, thank you for hanging out. You guys make the day so much better and so much fun. And I appreciate it very, very much. So, Gabrielle, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. I know you already said it, Friday. And we will do tomorrow's. So, if you guys watch ahead, no spoiler alerts on Friday because I will not watch ahead except I won't watch it. I'll just grab timestamps so I can know where to go. So, alrighty, we're out. I gotta find my music. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.